Hello friends, welcome to Universe of Naruto X. If you love Naruto what if stories and anime explanations, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's begin today's story. Zabuza Kakashi mouthed, pulling his hit up, revealing his sharing. So finally you decided to show yourself. I thought you would know better and hide you're in some corner after that fight in the forest. You're just lucky during that battle that I didn't have my full strength. Zabuza sneered. But this time you're not that fortunate. Today I'm not alone. He waved his hand and the fake Hunter Nin from before appeared from inside the thick mist. Kakashi's eyes narrowed so that Hunter Nin really was your accomplice. Finally realized it, ha. Zabuza smirked under his bandage, but it's too late now. Haku, go. Without any word, Haku dashed forward, aiming at the bridge builder and the three Genin Sunbi on hand, and she was stopped by Sasake, who jumped in her way and delivered a rolling kick to her face. Naturally, with her incredible reflex, Haku easily stopped midden and blocked the kick. Zabuza's eyes narrowed. That brat can follow Haku's speed. Surprise. Ha, Zabuza, but your opponent is me, not him. Zabuza's eyes darted back, right in time for him to block Kakashi's swing of his kunai on his exposed neck. His maniacal grin couldn't be seen as it was hidden under the bandages. Coming right at me, eh, Kakashi. But when you do that, he formed a hand seal with his free hand. What will happen to the bridge builder and your little Genin? I wonder. 4 water clones of Zabuza rose up from the ground surrounding Sakura, Hinata, and Zuna. Their swords were raised high, ready to strike down at the seemingly defenseless people. But Kakashi just chuckled. I told you, Zabuza, you have underestimated my Genin too much. 4 sickening thuds, and the clones collapsed back into water. Sakura stood firm in front of Tuzuna and Hinata. Her right clenched fist was soaking wet. Wow, she muttered in shock. Did I just do what I think I did? She punched through my water clones. See that, Zabuza, we didn't spend the last week doing nothing like you did. If it hadn't been for the mask hiding his mouth, people would have seen the triumphant smirk on Kakashi's face. Zabuza gritted his teeth. Well, I admit that your Genin have developed quite nicely during the last week, but suddenly his mouth morphed into a deadly grin under the bandage. But you are too naive to think that only you have improved. Zabuza jumped away from Kakashi while weaving through hand seals in a much faster speed than he did before. Both of Kakashi's eyes widened. Oh, he also started going through hand seals, but Zabuza had nearly completed his own. There's no time to copy Zabuza's jutsu. He had to use another one. Water style, water dragon, water style, water shark bomb. The 2 creatures made of water slammed into each other and exploded, making a torrent which poured down everyone's head. Sasake's eyes widened when Haku formed a seal with her free hand. Everyone be care. Too late. Water style. 1,000 needles of death. All the water falling down suddenly stopped midair and turned into needles. All aiming right at Zuna, Hinata, and Sakura. And worse, they're everywhere. From behind, in front, at sides. The deadly projectiles shot at the 3 people. There was no way for them to dodge. Earth-style mud wall. Moving as fast as he could, Kakashi appeared in front of the 3 and slammed his hands on the ground. A wall of mud rose around everyone, covering them completely from the needle assault. Damn it. Even when separated, they can still assist each other effectively. And with Zuna here, he grimaced while stealing a glance at the bridge builder. We're in a serious disadvantage. His train of thought was interrupted when Zabuza's Kubiko sliced through the earth wall. This is not the time for you to sit there and daydream. Kakashi exclamation mark was the only thought of Kakashi when he raised his kunai to block the deadly sword descending on his head. He grunted when the heavy blade clashed with the kani, letting out a loud clang. If this continued, everyone would be killed. He must do something. The plan in his head right now was nothing but insanity. But if there was nothing they could do. Sasake. Code 135. Sasuke's eyes widened. In Kanahaga's Shinobi Handbook, Code 135 was the order for luring enemies away from the battlefield. It meant that Kakashi wanted him to separate that Hunter Nin and Zabuza. But that also meant he had to take on that Hunter Nin alone. His mouth twisted into a smirk. This was the chance for him to prove himself against a powerful opponent. Fire-style Fireball Jutsu. The signature jutsu of the Yukichi clan was launched at Haku at a surprisingly mediocre speed. The Hunter Nin's eyes narrowed. Is this a joke? She took a step aside and the ball of fire flew past her without even touching her sleeve. But then she startled when Sasaki suddenly appeared right in front of her, his fist back. So fast. Haku raised her hand to block the incoming punch, but a kick immediately followed, sending her tumbling. She staggered back, but the boy didn't stop his assault there. Haku was by no means bad at taijutsu, but she still found that she was being pushed further and further away from Zabuza. So, their aim was to separate us. Haku narrowed her eyes under her mask. She pulled out a sun from her sleeve while blocking another kick from Sasaki. It seems I have to finish you fast. Just try, Sasaki smirked. From now on, you will be the one who has to run from my attacks. Na yawned and opened his eyes. Bright warm sunlight sneaked into the room through the cracks on the windows. It was a nice morning. He winced as pain racked through his head. Ah. My head hurts. What happened? Do you even need to ask? Oni-chan. The voice of Psycho echoed through his mind. You exhausted your own chakra last night to the very last drop. Do you know how dangerous that was? If it hadn't been for us inside you, you would have died. The slug's voice was full of irritation. Never before had Na heard her speaking in a tone like that. It's just like the voice of an angry mother when her child did something bad. Na chuckled. Don't worry, Siko-chan. I do that all the time, you know, and I still live. How bad can it be? Then he changed the topic, ignoring the slug whose cheeks seemed to be puffing out angrily. Say, where did everyone go? The house seems to be awfully quiet. It's 9 already, idiot. Shukaku deadpanned. Everyone has already gone for training and guarding the old man at the bridge. The only ones home right now are the lady and the Tanari brat. A feeling of dread suddenly swept through Naruto's stomach. What happened? It feels just like I've forgotten something very important. Then he heard a crash in the kitchen below. Inari screamed vengeance, charged at the two rogue swordsmen head first, and got replaced by a log which was cut into pie. Say, nah, carrying the boy by his waist, grinned Foxy. You know, being a hero doesn't mean you have to rush in recklessly like that. Next to his feet, Tsunami was lying, still unconscious, but wasn't harmed in any way. Inari's eyes widened in surprise and relief. Nah, so you're one of those losers called Ninja that old bag hired. Ha, one of the thugs smirked. Taking you back with us surely will give us some pretty bonus. He took a step forward and drew his sword, but Na just waved his hand. Look behind you first. The two looked behind only to see two planks smashed hard at their faces. They slumped down, fainted. Take that, idiots. Naruto and his two clones grinned cheekily. Loud footsteps rose from behind him. He turned back and saw Karani, Shino and Ka running towards him. The red-eyed John and only needed a glance to understand what had just happened. She looked at Na. They're from God's right. If they dare to attack a civilian house like this place, it must be for hostages. It seems Zuna-san is also in danger right now. Then let's go help Kakashi-sensei and the other. Ka pumped his fist into the air. Everyone nodded in agreement. Oh. And Inari Naruto remembered. Sorry about that slap earlier. You really are strong. I'm proud of you. He gave the boy a thumb up. We're going to the bridge to help your grandpa. Can we count on you here? Of course, Naruto NC-han. Inari said with a grin full of tears. Na turned back to everyone. All right, he muttered. It's hero time. Ice-style demonic crystal ice mirrors. The ultimate technique of Haku. It creates a dome of mirrors which traps her enemy inside and which Haku can move freely between so fast normal eyes cannot hope to catch a glimpse. Combining it with her incredible skill in sunbi throwing, almost no enemy can escape death when facing her. And now Sasaki Ueha was being trapped inside the dome of mirrors. Kakashi's eyes narrowed when the dome of ice formed at the other side of the half-built bridge. What is that jutsu worried about your student Kakashi? The mocking voice of Zabuza rose as if the man himself had read Kakashi's mind. You should be because no one will ever get out of Haku's jutsu alive. Kakashi's spine froze. What? Furthermore, the smirk of Zabuza widened even more under the bandages. I think you should save that worrying for your other students. Realizing what Zabuza had just said, Kakashi yelled, Sakura, Hinata, stay alert. There might be. Too late. From behind the two girls and the bridge builder, the demon brothers descended down on their heads, their claws raised high. Damn it. Na turned to the red-eyed kunoichi, who had just cursed. What's wrong? Kurani-sensei. I just remembered that there has been no news of the demon brothers since we defeated them on the way to Waves, Kurani muttered. If they are able to join Zabuza, I really cannot say what will happen. Naruto's heart jumped. In his timeline, Kakashi defeated those two in one hit and they hadn't been hurt again since then. But what if they showed up again this time? I don't understand why you're so scared. He heard Isabu snorting. During my time in Kurija, I hadn't even heard of them. With those cannon fods, how bad can it be? Speaking of Kariaka, Kurama added, you always say that you will save Haku and Zabuza, but do you have any plan of how to do that? Nope. The thought of Naruto was too cheerful to be a denial. Kurama face pumped. Why do I always have idiots as my genturi? Hey, I'm not that bad. Nah, don't worry. They'll become your friends after you beat their asses off. Maybe some full power chakra beams of total destruction will help. Shome waved him off. Everyone stared at the beetle. What? That's how magical girls do when they want to befriend someone. Na silently made a vow to never let Chome and his children in the future go anywhere near manga or anime when they're together. It turned out that Isabu was too optimistic. The demon brothers, though not being as powerful as John and like Kakashi or Kurani, was still at shonen level. Cannon fodders are not, they're still forces that would give Genin a hard time fighting. And facing them right now was Hinata, who was a shy girl who didn't like fighting, and Sakura, a still fangirl who had just started training seriously for about a week. Obviously, that didn't go so well. Had it not been for Hinata's Byakugan, which has the ability to see everything around their user, the two girls and the bridge builder would have been killed. Tazuna, being there put them in another severe disadvantage. Being a mere civilian, standing in the middle of a ninja battle means putting yourself in danger of being killed or maimed brutally. The fact that he was the reason for that ninja battle didn't help either. Therefore, what seemed to be the battle between the two missing nins and the two Genin kunoichi was only the two kunoichi jumping and rolling and running around, trying desperately to avoid the ruthless assault coming from the huge gauntlets of the two masked ninja while holding the bridge builder out of their reach. Some kind of gross purple liquid was dripping menacingly from the claws onto the ground. Whatever it was, Sakura wouldn't want to touch it or let it touch her. She jumped back, pushing Zuna out of the way when the deadly poisonous claw aimed right at the bridge builder's face. I'm scared, Sakura thought. Her legs trembled. I'm not as good as Naruto or Sasuke, am I going to be killed here? She could feel fear starting creeping into her spine. It's not like she couldn't fight, but all the battles before were just normal sparring between classmates or teammates. She had never had a real fight in her life. Her fists had power, but that's all they had. All the training from Kakashi only helped her increase the strength of her body, not her battle experience. And right now, she was facing an enemy with a weapon designed to kill. What am I going to do now? Luckily for her, she didn't have to do anything. What's the matter, little girl? One of the missing nins taunted while swiping at Hinata's face. Too scared to even fight back a little. Yes, Hinata was scared. Of course, she was scared. This was the first time she had to face an enemy alone. The last time she had had Kurana-sensei and her friends Ka and Shino next to her, always ready to back her up. Right now, Sakura had her own enemy to deal with, and behind her was a trembling bridge builder she had to protect with her life. This time she was all alone. No one was here to help her. Even if there was someone, she would be dead before they arrived. Hanata, the girl startled when Kakashi's voice reached her ears. You are not weak, the sharing master yelled while struggling against Zabuza's huge sword. You just don't want to fight because you don't like hurting people. But if you continue holding back, someday you won't be able to even protect the ones you love. Hinata's eyes widened. The ones I love. Oh, flashback. Hinata let out a deep sigh after finishing her basic kata for Juken. She relaxed her body and sat down on a log nearby. The training sessions of Kakashi during the week were nothing but brutality. The Jonin had forced them to push through their limits. And although it hurt a lot, their bodies all became stronger, faster, and more flexible than before. However, whenever it came to sparring, Hinata was still the worst. Her attacks without applying chakra were just harmless slaps. She just couldn't steel her heart enough to use Juken on another person, let alone on her friends when they trained. Her mind and her soul just weren't ready for hurting people. Today, Kakashi-sensei had told her that she could take a rest. She was even excused from guarding duty at the construction zone. Never before during the week had the Jonin allowed anyone to rest like that. She thought of everything that happened. She thought of how useless she was during the fight with Zabuza in the forest. Could it be that because of that Kakashi-sensei didn't want her to fight anymore? Could it be that she was too weak? She was not material of kunoichi at all, just like everyone said. Unable to hold herself together anymore, Hinata burrowed her face on her hands and started crying. Hinata-chan. The girl almost jumped when Naruto's voice rose right next to her ear. "Na Nakan," she squeaked, wiping her eyes quickly with her sleeve, but the damage was already done. The blonde stared at her tearful face and frowned. "What happened, Hinata-chan? Why are you crying? Did someone hurt you?" No, it's nothing." She tried to scurry away from the boy, but all her efforts were in vain. Naruto grabbed her arms and pulled forcefully so that they were facing each other. "Hinata-chan, you cannot lie to me. It's clear to me that you're sad about something. Please tell me. I'll help you if I can. I don't want to see you crying like this." Blue stared into white, and for a second, Hinata felt like something broke inside her. She broke into tears again. Warm salty drops drenched her coat. I can't do it," she said between sobs. "I cannot fight at all. Whenever I try to do something good, I end up being everyone's nuisance. Everyone was right. I'm just too weak. I don't deserve to be a ninja. I too busy crying." She didn't notice she had slumped onto Naruto's chest, wetting his shirt in process. She could hear someone called her name. "Hinata-chan. Hinata-chan." But she didn't care. After letting out all her frustration, pain and despair, she thought the world was going to collapse around her. "Hinata Hyuga, you are going to listen to me right now." Hinata was so shocked she stopped crying. "Naruto-kun, Hinata," Naruto said, and Hinata realized he didn't use the usual honorific. "I don't believe you are weak. I remember during the academy, you're one of the best girls in our class. How could you say you're weak?" But Ina didn't let her finish the sentence. "Hinata, I know you don't like hurting people, but in the future, there will be some times you have to. When you're alone and your comrades are all disabled, who will protect them if you stubbornly refuse to fight like that?" Then he chuckled. "Besides, fighting isn't always bad. I used to be like you, but then I realized that sometimes I have to fight to protect the people I love. I remember when I first used the shadow clone jutsu to protect Iruka-sensei from Mizuki. It makes me feel more powerful than ever. So there, don't hesitate when you have to fight to protect someone, especially if the good people who are in need of your help." Hinata was stunned. Never before had she considered that possibility. Or had she? Could it be that she had thought about it but dismissed it because it contradicted her ideal? Since the Kumogak incident, she had desperated fighting. She thought that because her father fought and killed the Kumogak shinobi, her uncle Hashi had to die. And since then, she had become scared of everything. The idea that hurting and killing people was bad was planted firm into her head and made her a shy girl who never wanted to fight others. She stubbornly thought that if she fought, it would only lead to other people's suffering. And Hinata suddenly felt ashamed. Naruto-kun, the boy she admired and loved, the one who had suffered from abuses during his childhood, in which she observed but couldn't do anything to help, had always thought of fighting to protect others, while she, a girl born into the mighty Hyuga clan, had said to fight only to run away from her past. Naruto-kun end flashback. "Oh no, I will not run away anymore." A palm full of chakra slammed at Mizu's stomach and suddenly he felt a sharp pain as if a knife had just been shoved into his navel. He gasped, stumbling back. "What the I will not let you harm Tuna-san or Sokka. You're within my divination." Mizu lifted his head and finally saw what he couldn't see earlier behind the thick mist screen. A pair of pure white eyes. "No, you're Hyuga." Two palms. Fingers poked his shoulders and Mizu felt his arms becoming numb. Four palms finger poked him again and now his legs couldn't move. It's just like all his energy was sealed up completely in those limbs. 8 palms, 16 palms, 8 trigrams, 32 palms. Mizu's eyes rolled back into his head and he slumped on the ground fainted. Standing over his body was Hinata, whose white eyes were full of power and determination. "Thank you, Naruto-kun. I finally understand what you said. We will become strong when we use our powers to protect others. You, what have you done to my brother? Go. Who was fighting Sakura, howled like a wounded animal. He abandoned his opponent and jumped at Hinata, who had just deactivated her Byakugan, making her unable to see him advancing towards her from behind. Die. Fang over, Fang. From nowhere, the combination jutsu of Ka and Akamaru slammed at Go, sending him flying away. He struggled to stand up, but his eyes widened and he collapsed into another heap on the ground. Kurenai smiled after successfully putting the missing nin into a blissful sleep with a genjutsu. Hinata, you did great. I'm very proud of you. Kakashi grimaced. He didn't have to move anywhere to see that Sasaki was screwed horribly since the dome of ice was erected. Sasaki had been overpowered completely. Not only he couldn't even touch Haku anymore, he also became the free dummy for the fake hunter nin to practice. Throwing Sunbi. It was only through pure luck or something Kakashi didn't know about that Sasaki didn't become a human-shaped pin cushion. Luckily for him, Kurenai and her team had arrived and disposed of the blasted demon brothers quickly. Kakashi let out a sigh in relief. Now the bridge builder had protection. You and your team led Tazuna-san out of here now. I will hold Zabuza off. And I as a veteran Jonin didn't need to be asked twice. Leaving civilians in the middle of a ninja battle is never a good idea, especially when that civilian is your own client. She nodded at her team and the four ninja together with Zuna ran back the trail they arrived from away from the battlefield. Now there was only the problem with Sasaki. He jumped away from another deadly slash of Zabuza and threw a cane at the ice dome. The knife whizzed through the air, aiming at the mirror containing the image of the masked hunter nin only to be caught easily by the ninja who emerged from the mirror. Damn it, and he felt a blur of orange flew past him. The hunter nin was knocked out of the mirror with a very hard kick to the face and landed on the bridge with a loud thud. Hello guys, what did I miss? Nice entrance there, dude. Guy duly noted. I know, Naruto answered with a smug grin. He turned to Sasaki, who was now slumping inside the mirror dome. Ouch, that must have hurt. Goku winced when he saw the boy's body now looking like a porcupine. Human's body wasn't supposed to look like that. Hey, Tam, Na called into the dome. Why didn't you just like body flicker out of that dome instead of just standing there to take all those needles? Sasaki yelled out. You think I hadn't thought of that? Because he cannot. A kick to the ribs sent Na flying into the dome. Ow, Na screamed when he landed face first inside the ice dome. What's the big idea? Hitting me when I was talking. And why do you think he won't, idiot? Sasaki gritted his teeth. Look out. A sunbee flew past them, effectively shutting both boys up when Sasaki frantically pushed Naruto away. Inside my crystal ice mirror. I am the fastest, Haku said, pulling out another sunburn from her sleeve. No movement of yours can escape my eyes, and body flicker won't help you escape my sunbee. Na blinked. You just explained your jutsu to us. I don't get it. Why do powerful ninja always have to explain their jutsu to enemies? Haku shrugged inside her mirror. Enough with this. Sasaki roared. If these mirrors is what give you advantages, then all we have to do is destroying them. He went through hand seals. Fire-style fireball jutsu. The ball of fire blasted from his mouth and did nothing to the mirrors. Damn it. My mirrors cannot be melted by normal fire alone. Your efforts were all in vain. And the two boys were skewered with a rain of sunbee again. It had been too long since the last time Naruto experienced this for him to remember how hurt this was. Ow. That was the greatest understatement of the year, Shukaku flatly noted. Oh. Come on. That's the only thing you could say, Shukaku-chan. Na yelled in his mind. You could have helped me with something like that auto-protection thing you gave Ga, Shukaku-chan, me. The raccoon snapped. And that protection power is of Ga's mother, not mine. So don't get your hope up. Okay, Na, don't panic. What did I do the last time I fought her? The last time he blasted everything away with Kurama's chakra. No, that won't work. That's just too overkill. I might end up blowing the whole bridge up. I have to try something else. Wind. Na was sure he had just heard Matabi muttering. Ha, Sasaki has fire jutsu. Use your wind jutsu to boost the fire up. It will be able to melt the ice mirrors. Naruto's eyes widened. He had completely forgotten of collaboration jutsu. He didn't have access to his recent right now, but Kakashi-sensei had just taught him a wind jutsu 2 days ago. He still hadn't perfected it completely, but it would be enough. Hey, Sasuke, I got a plan. Try your fire jutsu again. Ha, Sasuke narrowed his eyes. He had just tried it and it didn't work. Then why? Then he saw Na performing hand seals and understood immediately. He grinned and started to weave through his own seals together. Yeah, Na grinned back. Sasuke nodded. The 2 sets of hand seals were completed at the same time. Fire style, fireball jutsu, wind style, great breakthrough. And the 2 jutsu combined did what one alone had not. Haku had to jump out of the mirror she was standing in right before the inferno rushed through it and vaporized half of the ice dome. What power? Aura Haku's eyes widened under her mask when the figure of Naruto bursted right through the flame. His right knuckle slammed at Haku's mask, shattering it, revealing her beautiful face. I'm sorry, Zabuza-sama. I have failed you. Everything around her went dark. Why are you doing this? The question of Kakashi almost caught Zabuza off guard. I really don't understand you, Zabuza, the Cyclops continued. You're the leader of the riot against the 4th Mazukage 1 year ago, right? Why would a ninja who did such an honorable thing stoop so low to work with a scum like God? I don't have to explain my way of working to you. Zabuza snarled. You are a fool, Zabuza. Kakashi stated while deflecting another slash of the swordsman. After your failure at assassinating Yagura, you left Kuriaka, left all your comrades to run away alone. As far as I know, right now they're still fighting even without your help. Do you think running away like that will help you bring freedom to Kurama? And now you affiliate yourself with a scum like God. That's just too sad. Do you really think that God will help you after you kill Zuna for him? Killing intent suddenly spiked around Kakashi. Shut up. I will not listen to you anymore. Kakashi had to dodge and block frantically when his surrounding was suddenly bombarded with a furious barrage of slashes. Sorry, nah, Kakashi thought while pulling out a scroll from his pocket. It seems I failed to help you convince Zabuza. But what must be done has to be done. Na stood triumphantly over Haku's body. His own body was riddled with Sinban wounds, but there was nothing his healing factor couldn't fix. Behind him, Sasuke was plucking the Espen off his body. You shouldn't do that. You might bleed to death. Na noted. Sasuke looked at him and scowled. This was nothing. Then Na noticed Sasuke's eyes. Oh. So you got your sharing, huh? Sasuke smirked. Yeah. It must have activated during the battle. Now I'm not going to lose to you anymore. Na grinned back. Oh. I'm waiting for our next spar. Then he heard the sound of 1,000 birds chirping at the other side of the bridge. His eyes widened. Oh no. Kakashi-sensei is going to kill Zabuza. Everything flew away from his head immediately. Kakashi-sensei had promised him that he would try to convince Zabuza. Kakashi-sensei, stop. He screamed, but his voice was unheard. The Jonin was running towards Zabuza full speed. His right fist was full of blue crackling electricity. 5 more steps and Zabuza's heart would be pierced. There was no time. Normal body flicker wouldn't help him reach them in time. He had to do it. Kurama, please lend me your chakra. Wait, what are you trying to do? Kurama yelled when her chakra was pulled on rather forcefully and started to form into Naruto's familiar golden chakra shroud. 3 more steps. With a kick to the ground, Naruto flew towards the fighting ninja in a yellow flash, sending a cloud of dust on Sasuke's face, leaving him coughing hysterically. He had to reach them before Kakashi's Reiki connected. 2. He wasn't going to make it. He could arrive in time, but there's no time to stop Kakashi's hand. 1. There was only one way. He jumped into the way of Kakashi in front of Zabuza, and the whole lightning jutsu was shoved right into his own chest. Everyone was utterly shocked. Yes, everyone. Sasuke, Sakura, Kakashi, the tailed beasts, even Zabuza. Kakashi was the first one snapping out of his stupor. Nah, he screamed, hastily, pulling his hand out of his student's chest. But before he could do anything else for the boy, the blade of Zabuza had been swung at his neck, and obviously it was going to cut through Naruto's body, too. And Kakashi saw red clang. The giant blade was stopped dead on its track by the metal plate on Kakashi's glove. His eyes were both locked at Zabuza's face with a glare full of hatred. A flick of his arm, and Kubiki Boko was yanked out of Zabuza's hand. The blade flew into the sky, spun wildly, and stabbed into the bridge with a loud thud. Kakashi gently put Na down on the hard, cold concrete surface, and stood up, grasped the handle of the giant blade, and snarled in a cold voice. I gave you a chance to back down, Zabuza, and you ruined it. Now prepare to face the consequences. Never before had Zabuza felt such a fear. Even before when he had faced Yagura, the Sandy Jinchuriki couldn't even compare to this ridiculous murderous intent from Kakashi. Right now, he tried to move, but his limbs felt like they had petrified. Kakashi-sensei, don't do it. The voice of Naruto coming from behind him made Kakashi stop. He turned back and saw the boy standing up shakily. The wound in his chest was closing up quickly, and in 2 seconds there was no trace of it left except a gaping hole in his shirt. Why? That was the only word Zabuza could choke out. Naruto smiled sadly because I believe you are not a bad person. Zabuza-san. Kakashi-sensei told me your story. A person who risks his life to free his village from a tyrant cannot be a bad person. Besides, I have only met Hiku-chan twice, but she told me that she had a precious person whom she considered her father. That was you, right, Zabuza-san? I cannot let her last precious person be killed right in front of me. But hell, I think if she was awake, she would have done the same thing as me. Zabuza's eyes widened. The girl he had rescued from a devastated bloodline family with the intent to train into a weapon. She thought of him so highly. And yet he was here always thought of her as a tool, a weapon for him to use. He thought of everything Haku had done for him before. No one in his life had ever given him such a treatment. The image of Haku standing in front of him, her bloody chest having a gaping hole and an arm piercing through, suddenly flashed through his mind. What the boy said was true. If Haku was awake, that would be the thing she would do. He hung his head in shame. A drop of tear rolled down his cheek. Since he first became a shinobi, he had been taught that shinobi were simply tools for others to use. They didn't have feelings such as love or regret. They simply were killing machines created to work for people with enough money to pay them. But right now, why was he shedding tears? Did that mean the devil of the hidden mist still had feelings as a human? More than ever, Zabuza wanted everything to stop. I surrender. Do anything you want. And with that, the battle in the bridge was finished. Na let out a sigh of relief. Right now, I really want to hit you for pulling such a stunt with your own body. Kurama commented dryly. But it seems you did a good job there, Na. That was an extravagant praise coming from the nine-tailed vixen. Kakashi looked at the blonde boy. A feeling of pride started blooming in his stomach. Na, you really are the son of Minato-sensei. He reached his headband, pulled it down to cover his sharing up. His work was done fire style, searing migraine, and suddenly the whole bridge was lit up with fire. Wah, what the heck just happened? Na coughed out. The heat around him was making it hard to breathe. Had it not been for Kakashi and Zabuza with their incredible reflex of John and level shinobi conjuring walls of water around them right in time to protect the three of them, they would have been fry. Ed being hit by the fire blast directly. Leave it for later, Kakashi yelled. Are you all right, Sakura? Sasake. I'm all right. The voice of Sakura rose up behind him. Haku. Zabuza also screamed. What about Haku? Is she okay over here? Sasuke's voice echoed through the fire screen. She's safe with me. Water style. Water stream. Zabuza bellowed, performing quick hand seals. A large stream of water blasted out of his mouth, which wasn't covered by bandages now, quickly extinguishing most of the sea of fire arrow. On them, leaving the bridge covered in a cloud of smoke. A mixture of anger and fear suddenly riled up inside of Na. It was not from the boy himself, but from a certain tailed beast residing in him. What's wrong, Chan? Settle down, Naruto asked in panic, trying his best to calm his beetle friend down. It's him, the seven-tailed beetle snarled in a tone completely different from her usual cheery voice. It was full of rage, and there was a hint of fear, too. I can never forget this chakra signature. This is the one who captured me and Fu during our timeline. Who had just attacked us. Show yourself, Kakashi roared, pulling his hatade up again. He was almost out of chakra, but this was a matter of life and death, and no moment to be stingy. From within the cloud of smoke, the masked figure of Kakazu, missing Nin of Takadaiga, stepped out. Chaos had broken out inside Naruto's belly. What the Shukaku screamed while running around hysterically in a speed quite fast for a chubby tanuki like her. Why does the Akatsuki decide to strike so soon? Shukaku, calm down. Isabu snapped. Shukaku turned back and grabbed the turtle's head, pulling him close to her face. Calm down. You're telling me to calm down. That man is a member of the Akatsuki. And right now, we're stuck with a Na who doesn't have any useful jutsu and cannot even use our power properly. We're dead. Shukaku's right, Guyuki said grimly. This is the man who single-handedly took down Chom and her Genturi. If we have to face him right now, we're as good as dead. That's if there hadn't been any of his associations around. No, I don't think we have to worry about that. Every head turned toward Kokuo. What do you mean by that? Goku asked. Look at him. The horse answered calmly. If he's in the Akatsuki, he has to be wearing their signature cloud-shaped cloak. But now he's not. Therefore, I assume that he's not in the Akatsuki, at least not yet, and we won't have to worry about his partners. But even so, he will be one of the Akatsuki, Kokuoni. Matabe noted. He is still a very powerful enemy, and Na isn't prepared for an opponent like him. I know, Kokuo agreed. It seems his target wasn't Naruto, though. Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, and Zabuza Mamaki, the devil of the hidden mist, Kakazu drawled, cracking his neck, menacingly. It seems that, didn't give me false information. But Kuriniaoi, the Genjutsu mistress, is not here. No matter. I'll hunt her down later. That bastard god Zabuza snarled. I shouldn't have trusted him to sell me out to the like of you. You know him, Zabuza? Kakashi asked. His eyes didn't leave the newcomer. Of course, I know him. The mist shinobi growled. He is Kakazu, bounty hunter and missing nin of Takagaka. He is the one who was responsible for the death of Kushimaru, one of my teammates when I was still in the Seven Swordsmen. Ah. I still remember that one. Kuzu laughed Croy. 50 million Rio bounty. Not a bad little haul for a hunting day. But don't worry, your own bounty in the bingo book is not bad either. Sweat started to drip from Kakashi's eyebrow. If what Zabuza said was true, then they're facing someone who could take down a member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist single-handedly. And if he had killed Kushimarakura, one of the most bloodthirsty members of the Seven Swordsmen of all people, only for the bounty, how many other powerful Shin Obi would that monster have hunted before and after that? There's no doubt that they're facing an incredibly powerful enemy. And right now, the only ones capable to fight on his side were two almost exhausted Jonin. Can you still fight, Kakashi? Kakashi grimaced when Zabuza voiced the question he was having inside his own head. I can still hold out for a bit, but not for long, he answered. Great, Zabuza muttered. Then you just stay there and look pretty. I'll take on that bastard alone. That's just suicidal, Zabuza, Kakashi noted. Don't you see how powerful he is? He nearly turned all of us into barbecue with only one fire jutsu. I know, Zabuza snarled, but this is a matter of honor. This bastard will pay for messing around with members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist. He stood up and brandished Kubakiri again. The blade of the gigantic sword gleamed as if agreeing with its wielder. How honorable, Kuzu laughed. His laughter was dry and unamused. That Kura also said that before I killed him, and Zabuza snapped. He leapt at Kuzu in a surprisingly fast speed and swung his sword so hard the only thing everyone could see was a black flash aiming at the Takaka missing nin's waist. And Kakazu seemed to be too slow to dodge or to do anything else to stop the blade from cutting him in half. Die, bastard. But much to Zabuza's surprise and horror, the blade just slammed at Kuzu's waist and stopped dead right there. He struggled to push on, but it didn't even budge. So hard. This is the best the devil of the hidden mist can do. So pathetic. Zabuza's eyes widened when his enemy his fist back. Instinct told him to withdraw his sword and use it to shield himself right before the fist landed on his chest. Flesh and bones collided with steel, causing a deafening clang and sending Zabuza flying. The man slammed hard on the ground, bounced a few times, and could only stop himself by stabbing the sword on the bridge surface. Zabuza grimaced. Both his arms felt numb and were shaking violently. What kind of human is he? His trend of thought was cut abruptly when Kuzu covered the distance with just a leap, his fist back again. Zabuza ducked and rolled away right in time before the fist connected with the ground and made a small crater in hard concrete. Screw ninjutsu. This guy's taijutsu was one of the most horrible Zabuza had ever seen. The only one he could think of who possessed something as powerful as this was Senju, one of the legendary Sun. If taijutsu and kenjutsu don't work, how about enjutsu? Water-style giant vortex. The dangerous water cascade surged up from under the bridge and crashed down on Kuzu's head. The missing nin was seemingly drowned under a ton of water dumping on his head. Ha! Take that! Ha! Much to his horror, Kuzu walked out from under the raging jutsu, soaking wet, but completely unharmed. The power of that jutsu was impressive. Devil of the hidden mist. Your heart will make a good replacement, I must say. Sweat rolled down from Zabuza's temples. He didn't understand what the bounty hunter meant when he said replacement, but that couldn't be anything good. However, now he understood why Kushimaru Kuroa was murdered so easily by this bastard. This enemy was way too powerful for him. No, for anyone to take on alone. Suddenly, a kai sword passed him, aiming right at Kuzu's head. The missing nin raised his hand to block and the knife bounced off his skin harmlessly. He just didn't expect the kana to explode in his face. At the same time, a hand grabbed Zabuza and pulled him back a safe distance. I thought you're not going to fight, Zabuza asked, and Kakashi answered him with a grin under his mask. Well, that's when I didn't have enough chakra, but now I have more than enough. Besides, I promised Naruto that I won't let you die, and I'm keeping that promise. Kakashi's body was now literally glowing with vibrant red chakra. Oh. 1 minute ago. What do you think you're doing, Nah? Kakashi asked when Naruto stood up, his hand holding a kunai. Do you even have to ask? Nah stared at Kakashi as if he had lost his mind. Zabuza is losing out there. We need to help him. Are you out of your mind? Sasaki, who had just carried Haku out of the battlefield, yelled, that man was a monster. Even I know when I am outmatched. If we go out there, we'll be killed for sure. Well, if we don't, Zabuza will be killed. Nah retorted. Sasaki bristled. I just cannot understand you, Nah. What is that Zabuza to you anyway? He's a murderer who had just tried to kill us. Why do we have to risk our life for him? Anger filled Naruto's head. He opened his mouth, ready to throw an insult to Sasuke's face. Nah, as the leader of the team, I command you to settle down. The voice of Kakashi suddenly rose from behind him. Nah snapped his head back, but settled down. Naruto flinched when he looked at Kakashi's eyes. He gulped and obediently obeyed the command. This time I agree with Naruto. Sasaki. Kakashi continued. Kakazu is targeting me and Zabuza, and both of us are no match for Kuzu. If we let Zabuza fight alone, we'll be killed. We can only stand a chance if we cooperate with Zabuza. So, I'll go out there and you guys stay back. This is not a fight you can take part in. He pulled out a soldier pill from his pouch, popped it in his mouth, and stood up. This is not much, but it will have to do. Then he felt Naruto tapped his shoulder. Suddenly, a rush of chakra surged through his body. It raged through every inch of his chakra pathway, but it didn't hurt. It was warm and lively and incredibly powerful, too. Kakashi felt his body refreshed completely and stronger than ever. Sensei, the boy behind him whispered, stay safe and win for me. And Sensei, 5 hearts. Kakashi nodded despite not understanding what the boy had just said. He stood up and leapt towards Zabuza and Kakazu. He didn't see Sasaki looking at Naruto with narrowed eyes. Oh, so you're here to lend me your pity. Zabuza scowled. It's obvious he wasn't thrilled with the idea of being saved by his enemy. You can kill me for that later, Zabuza. Kakashi answered. But right now, what we must focus on is Kuzu if we don't want to be killed. But what can we do? Zabuza asked while glancing at Kakazu, who was now coughing from sucking a bit of smoke into his lungs. That bastard is just like invulnerable from all my attacks. Don't worry, I already have an idea on how to beat him, Kakashi answered calmly, then frowned. But first, he needs to stop moving. I don't think my Ninken can bind him to the ground like they did to you before. Zabuza grimaced, but then grinned. If that's the only thing you need, then consider it done. Kakazu raised an eyebrow when Zabuza once again faced him alone. I thought you have learned your lesson and cooperate with Kakashi. It seems like you really want to die alone. Ha. I don't need the help of that copycat, Zabuza smirked. He brandished the blade of executioner again. I will take you down with my own hands. Foolish little boy. Well, that's your own choice. Kuzu shrugged. He made one hand seal. Now die fire style. Searing migraine. The deadly fire blast was aimed at Zabuza once more. But suddenly from nowhere, Kakashi emerged and slammed his hands on the ground. Earth-style mud wall. The wall of earth sprouted from the bridge surface, effectively blocking the sight of Zabuza and Kakashi from Kakuzu's view, and the fire jutsu exploded harmlessly on it. Now, hidden mist jutsu. The mist screen covered the whole bridge again, but this time it was so thick that everyone on the bridge couldn't see something, even if it was right in front of them. But Kuzu only laughed. You think that kind of child's toy can help you hide from me? Wind style. Pressure damage. Wind style. A tornado much stronger than that wind blast of Naruto before exploded from Kuzu's body, throwing all the genin off their feet and clearing the mist screen away. It also revealed a surprised Zabuza, who had just got to Kuzu's place with his sword crashing down at the tacky missing nin. Naturally, he caught the blade with his hand, just like before. This is getting old, but now it's over. The extremely powerful punch finally connected with a sickening thud and Zabuza let go of Kubikiri Boko, coughed and collapsed to the ground and turned into water. What a water clone. Another Zabuza was right behind him. Yes. Now fly with a mighty roar. Zabuza slammed the flat of his blade at Kuzu's face hard and the bounty hunter was sent flying away like a baseball. His body soared across the sky about 60 meters and fell into the water of the river with a loud splash. Everyone winced. Nah face pumped. Yeah. Home run. Guy hollered inside Naruto's head. That's just humiliating. Sasake noted. Sakura nodded in agreement. Yeah. Invulnerability or not, that must have hurt. Kuzu's head emerged from underwater. You've done it, brat, he growled, pushing himself up on the water surface. There's no way I'm going to hold back anymore after this. Hold back this. The voice of Zabuza suddenly rose up behind him. Water prison jutsu. Kakuzu snapped his head back, but he was not fast enough. The water in the river around him rose up, forming a hard spherical cage around him, effectively locking all his movement. Kakashi. Now, from afar, Kakashi shot toward them like a bullet. His right hand was crackling with the familiar blue lightning of his trademark Reikiri. Kakuzu's eyes widened in realization. The Zabuza who had just smashed him into the river was also a clone. The hidden mist jutsu from before wasn't to hide Zabuza for the purpose of attacking. It was for him to make water clones to set up this trap. Squatch. The lightning blade pierced Kuzu's chest cleanly with a gurgling sound. You think I didn't notice that? Kakushi said while pulling his hand out of Kuzu's chest. You used a en jutsu before you engaged as to harden your body to the point it was as hard as diamond. And after that, your body was impervious to water en jutsu. Only a powerful earth-style jutsu can have that kind of effect. Sadly, even the most powerful earth technique has a glaring weakness against lightning. And unfortunately for you, I have a powerful technique of that very same element. The water prison dissolved and Kakuzu's body fell down and sunk into the river. Kakashi and Zabuza looked at the body disappearing into the dark green water for a while. Then Zabuza spoke out. Is he really dead? Kakashi nodded. He should have been. I'm very sure that I have taken out his heart when the Reikiri landed. The two of them looked at each other. So what now? Nothing. Zabuza shrugged. God betrayed me, so there is no reason for us to fight anymore. Unless, he suddenly grinned. You still want to be killed for showing pity on me. Kakashi chuckled. I appreciate your offer, but no thanks. I still have many things I want to do in my life. He reached onto his headband, covering his sharing up again, and his instinct screamed at him to get the hell away from the place he was standing. Zabuza, look out. But his concern was redundant. Feeling the killing intent himself, Zabuza had jumped away right before the water exploded violently below his feet with a loud boom. Emerging from underwater was Kuzu, but he looked nothing like he had been 1 minute ago. His body was now taking a monstrous form with black tendrils piercing through his skin, forming grotesque tentacles on his back and below his neck. At the places where should have been his shoulders lay two strangely looking masks, and next to them there were two gaping holes with the seemingly fragments of two other masks from which a disgusting looking substance was leaking out. What kind of monster is he? That was the thought both Kakashi and Zabuza was sharing. What looked like a mouth in Kuzu's real face, which settled in the middle of the two masks, cracked open with a snarl. You two bastards destroyed two of my hearts. You will pay for it with your own. 2 of my hearts. Now Kakashi understood what Naruto meant when he said 5 hearts. Because of having more than one heart, he couldn't be killed with a normal attack to the heart like other human beings. The mouths of the 2 masks on his shoulders opened and Kakashi suddenly felt a thrill of foreboding. Fire style, searing migraine, wind style, pressure damage. The 2 familiar jutsu were casted once again, but this time wind amplified fire and the firestorm created was much more powerful than the combination jutsu Naruto and Sasuke had done before. Water style water wall. Zabuza cried out desperately, and a large wall of water was erected around the 2 shinobi, but the effect was just trivial. The raging flame swept across them, and the water barricade was only barely able to hold on. In just a second, the river was bathed in a sea of fire. Kakashi let out a choking cough. The heat of the fire and the steam coming from the water under his feet were making it very hard to breathe. Then suddenly, from inside the flame, tendrils shot out, aiming at Kakashi and Zabuza's faces. Quote! Exclamation mark. The 2 ninja cursed, swinging their sword and kana to cut the black threads, but even more of them shot out, restraining their hands and tying them up completely. Couldn't use jutsu anymore. They could just stared helplessly when Kuzu stepped out from behind the flame while cackling menacingly. Your hearts are mine, he laughed like a psycho. While some more black threads sprouted out from his body and hovered in front of the 2 restrained shinobi, ready to impale them to rip their hearts out of their chests. Is this it? Kakashi thought, closing his eyes. Is this the end of me? I still haven't fulfilled my duty with my team, with Na. I still haven't done anything to save Ren and Obito. Obito. Kakashi's eyes snapped open again. How could he forget about it? He still had one more jutsu, which didn't require any hand seal, but he still hadn't ever used it successfully before. But there's no time to hesitate. If it didn't work, he would have to make it work. He concentrated every last drop of chakra in his body. There was only one chance. He needed to put everything he had into it. His sharing morphed into the pinwheel shape of the Mangekyo sharing. What is this? Kuzu screamed in panic when a vortex appeared right in the middle of the fabric of space right on his chest and started sucking him into it. He struggled with all his might, but it was all in vain. One of his arms and the mask on that shoulder had been sucked completely into the black hole. The tendrils approaching Zabuza and Kakashi stopped abruptly on the air right when they're about to stab on their chests and was slowly being dragged away from them. Kakashi, meanwhile, started to feel an aching tingle in his left eye socket. Come on, keep it going. Just a little bit more. No, this is not happening. I'm immortal. Die. Kakazu screamed hysterically before his head was sucked into the black hole. A tendril was launched at Kakashi's heart, but missed and stabbed the Sharingan master's stomach instead. Up. The Kono had cringed when the black spear impaled his stomach, his left eye snapped shut, and the black hole vanished, bringing half of Kuzu's body into the alternate dimension. The only thing of Kuzu remained in the battlefield was his legs and bits of the black threads in his body, which were now all sinking into the greenish water below them, releasing the 2 shinobi they had been binding. Kakashi slumped down. The Mangekyo technique had drained him more than he had thought. Even being charged with chakra of the Kyuubi before, he could feel his body being exhausted to the core. He only had enough chakra to keep himself stable on the water surface. For a while, the genin, Zabuza, and Kakashi himself, no one could utter a single word. They were all too appalled by the incredible jutsu Kakashi had just pulled out. Finally, Zabuza croaked, Is it over? Kakashi didn't bother to answer. Even if Kakazu hadn't died, without his head, he would never have been able to do anything to them anymore. Besides, even if he could, there was no way Kakashi and Zabuza could handle another battle with him. Well, look what we have here. Seems like the famous copy ninja and the devil of the hidden mist are not as powerful as people say now, huh? Everyone snapped their head back to find a black glass, _ in a suit standing on the bridgehead. A battalion of thugs fully armed was standing behind him. Thank Kami for delivering you into my hands. Zabuza snarled. You will die today for betraying me. God. Oh. God smirked. By you and what army? An arrow stabbing the ground right in front of his face answered him. How about this army? A voice echoed in the air from the other side of the bridge. God looked up and broke into sweat when seeing all citizens in the land of waves with Inari leading together with teammates standing their weapons ready. Besides, the voice of Zabuza suddenly rose next to his ears, who said that I need help to kill a bastard like you, Godto. God's arrogant smirk dropped like a rock, and he looked like he had just pissed himself. Ah. Please don't kill me, he whimpered. Too bad, Zabuza said, and with a swing of his sword, God became a dead body without its head. Team 7 and everyone else sweat dropped when Zabuza continued to brutally mowing down the army of bandits. So, our work here is done, Na asked. Yeah, Kakashi nodded. Although, I think we're not going back home for a while with the bridge being damaged like this. They looked back at the bridge. What looked like a nearly completed great bridge one day ago had become riddled with holes and burning RKS and littered with corpses. No one saw a figure on a cliff afar warping away in a spiral vortex. Haku's eyes fluttered open. The first thing she knew was that she was facing a wooden ceiling and that she was lying on a soft, comfortable bed. And after realizing that, the first thing she wanted to do was to fall into her blissful slumber again. It was too long since the last time she slept on a bed. It was much more comfortable than the sleeping bag she usually used during her constant travel with Zabuza-sama. Wait, Zabuza-sama. Everything rushed back into her head with the might of a hammer blow. She remembered the fight on the bridge when she had been forced to use her most powerful jutsu, and the two boys from Konoha melted that most powerful jutsu with a combination of wind and fire, and she was knocked out by a punch to the face. She bolted upright and looked around. She was in a small bedroom, wooden walls, small desk at the corner. Naruto sitting on a chair next to the bed, electric light bulbs on the ceiling. Wait, Naruto. Ah. Haku-chan, you're awake. Yes, Naruto. Eep. She yelled, unconsciously pulling the blanket covering her body up, muffling her voice in the process. Despite being a powerful ninja, Haku was still a girl. And having a boy in her bedroom. Well, not quite her bedroom anyway, looking at her sleeping face. Haku's face burned up dangerously, and she opened her mouth, ready to scream, only for a hand of Na muffling her before any sound could come out. Shush! Na exclaimed in panic. Don't scream. Do you want Zabuza to castrate me? He has been trying to do that for a while after I said I would look after you when you slept. Wait, Haku's eyes widened. Zabuza-sama is still alive. Of course. Naruto gave her a foxy grin, and he seemed to be quite worried about you, Haku-chan. The embarrassment was quickly replaced by a smile of relief and happiness. Thank goodness, Haku sighed. Then she remembered. Wait, Naruto, where am I? You're in Tazuna's house, Nard. God was dead, and you probably won't want to go back to his place anyway. So Haku winced. She could still remember how she and Zabuza had tried to kill the Bridgeoyer when they were coming back from Kanahagaka. Why did you spare me? She asked sadly. We were trying to kill you back then. We are your enemies. Not anymore, Haku-chan. Na shook his head. You only did that because of the contract between you and God. Now God died. All the conflicts between us are over. Besides, he chuckled. Zabuza and Kakashi-sensei worked together to defeat Kakazu, so it's a tie now. Hey. Haku blinked. Who is Kakazu? Oh yeah, you were fainted during their fight, right? Kakazu was a bounty hunter who wanted to take Kakashi-sensei and Zabuza's heads. You should have seen how they fought together. It's totally awesome. Na nodded. Haku blinked again. This boy. Just a few hours ago, she had just tried to kill him. And now he's acting like they'd been friends for years. Haku never had a happy childhood. When she was still a child, her father had killed her mother and had also tried to kill her. And Zabuza-sama had rescued her. And since then, she had become his weapon. She only existed to kill for him, to do anything he wanted her to do, nothing else. She never had a friend, and she didn't understand what it would feel to have a friend. Inside her mind, there was only Zabuza-sama, and she would do anything to satisfy him. But now, having the blonde boy in front of her, talking to her casually with a huge grin on his face, she felt a strange sensation blooming inside her heart. It was warm. Is this the feeling of having a friend? But I don't deserve to be your friend, she voiced her thought unconsciously. Ikaya. Her voice was cut off abruptly by Naruto wrapping his arm around her waist. Silly Haku-chan. He grinned foxily. I don't care whether you deserve to be my friend or not. The only thing I know is that I want you to be my friend, and that's enough for me to accept you. Now stop moping around and come downstairs to eat. Everyone's waiting. Then he dragged her out of the bed. Despite the poor girl's frantic struggling, everyone was standing in front of the newly completed bridge. With the help of Zabuza and the shinobi of the leaf, the bridge was completed in only a few days. And now it was time to say farewell. I'll miss you, Naruto-chin, Inari said while balling into Naruto's shirt, which was now replaced as his old one had a hole on it during the battle. Na grinned, although his eyes also had a shed of tears. Don't worry, I'm sure we will meet again someday. Until then, he gave the boy a wink. Make sure you become strong to protect everyone here. Promise. Promise. Inari answered with a huge grin on his face. While the children sharing their tearful goodbye, Kakashi looked at Zabuza. So, what are you going to do now? Zabuza shrugged. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to lay low for a while. I'm starting to feel tired of all the meaningless fighting. Besides, he chuckled, I have the duty of a father to fulfill now after all. He rubbed Haku's hair, who was now blushing from happiness and embarrassment. Oh. Kakashi smiled. So, the deadly devil of the hidden mist has become a harmless puppy now thanks to a little girl. Hey. Say that again and I'll show you harmless. Zabuza growled, though his voice was more playful than menacing. Leaving the two adults there bickering, Haku walked towards Naruto and his friends. The others still cringe a bit when she got near them, but she let it slide. Obviously, it's not easy to forgive someone if she had just tried to kill them before. So, I guess it's goodbye now, huh? Na looked at Haku's eyes and sighed it. Yeah, Haku nodded. It's sad I could only be your friend for a while. Don't be silly. Na grinned. Once a friend, forever a friend. Haven't you heard that? Oh. Maybe you don't, but don't forget it. Even if you're far away, you'll still be in my heart. Haku smiled. When she smiled for real, she looked so cute. Thank you, Naruto__. Then she did something no one could ever expect. She grabbed his cheeks and kissed him on the lips. Naruto's brain went numb as if it was dumped into a pit full of ice. Then he felt massive killing intent exploded behind him. He turned back and saw Zabuza standing right next to him. Kubiki Boko raised high and a demonic aura cloaking his body. You'd better run, brat. Na didn't need to be asked twice. Well, at least this time your first kiss was not from a boy. Kurama snickered inside his head. Shut up, Kurama. Heal. Meanwhile, Ka and the others had to try the best to restrain Hinata when a similar demonic aura started flowing out of the white-eyed girl. Goodbye everyone. Goodbye, Konohashinobi. Thank you so much for helping us. Eyes of everyone in the land of waves followed the back of the two Konohashi teams until they disappeared behind the forest. Those children are awesome, Zuna murmured. I can't believe one so young could change people so much. The whole land of waves is united now, and it's all thanks to that boy. Yeah. Zabuza nodded. They're just normal genin now, but I can see they will become legends in the near future. So, what should we name this bridge anyway? Someone in the back yelled. Tazuna shook his head. Don't worry everyone. I think I have found a perfect name for the bridge. What is it? Someone asked loudly from the crowd. Zuna grinned. The Great Naruto Bridge. We finally found you, Zabuza. Zabuza narrowed his eyes when the Thryu of Kariaka dropped down to the ground in front of him. He reached the hilt of Kubikiri on his back, but a masked shinobi in front of him raised his hand. Please wait, Zabuza-san. We're here to deliver a message from the new Mazukage. A new Mazukage. Ha, Zabuza mouthed. So, the revolution has finally succeeded. Tell me, what do you want from me? The Mazukage invites you to return to Kariaka, sir. She wants you to once again become the leader of the 7 swordsmen. She promises if you return, all the bounty on your head which originates from Kurija will be erased completely. The Ambu pulled out a scroll from his shuriken pouch and handed it to Zabuza. Here, sir, this will make everything clear. Zabuza glanced at the Anbu wearily, then received the scroll and opened it carefully. It was indeed an official documentation from the Mazukage. It basically stated the same things the Ambu had just said: invitation to return to the village, forgiveness Fr. on the failed assassination, etc. But when he looked at the signature at the bottom of the letter, his eyes widened. The name in the signature was made to Rumi with a tiny symbol of a heart at the tail of the last I. She only used that signature in letters for her close people. The letter in his hand couldn't be of anyone else but her. Mei-chan Haku. He rolled the scroll closed and looked at his newly adopted daughter who was standing next to him with a smile. Get your luggage ready. We're going home. Do you think you can fix him? Of course. I am God. There is nothing my Naraka path cannot fix. The mouth of the king of hell opened and from there the familiar figure of Kuzu emerged completely rejuvenated. Finally, I can finally walk again. Kuzu bellowed while laughing like a madman. Kakashi Hatake, this time you won't get away from me. I'll blast you to shred for doing that to me. Haha. Conan, who was now standing next to the diva path of pain, face pumped. This is just stupid. The man wearing a spiral mask, who was standing next to her, shrugged. Well, he's powerful, you know. Kuzu of Takaga, the diva path stepped up and looked at the now three-hearted missing nin. We restored your body as agreed. From now on, you are a member of Akatsuki. Oh yeah, Kuzu sneered. And why do I have to listen to you? Because if you're with us, you will be able to claim much larger bounties than you've ever had before. Toby answered smoothly. Besides, Pain continued, who said that you had a choice? You're threatening me, Kakazu screamed. His two remaining masks sprouted from his shoulders, aiming at all the Akatsuki members standing in the room. A fireball was formed in the mouth of one mask and a small whirlwind in the other. But Pain didn't even falter a little bit. He raised his hand and closed his eyes. Shinra Tensai Kakazu was blown across the room and slammed into the opposing wall with a loud CRA shush. The force of the push was so incredible, a crater was left on the stone wall behind him. Kuzu gasped out in pain. The chakra he had just stored for the jutsu dissipated harmlessly. What is this power? You have no chance, Kuzu. Come with us and we won't have to kill you to keep our organization secret. A pair of rippled purple eyes was staring down at him from above. Those eyes, and from then on Kuzu knew he was lost. He quietly received the ring from Pain without another word. And that's another member for the Akatsuki. Obito Uchiha said in satisfaction. A smirk formed under his mask. I don't get it. Kisamehoki the shark swordsman snorted. If you only need people for the ceiling, why didn't you use those bodies of yours anyway? That's not something you're allowed to ask, Pain answered coldly, and Kisame shrugged, but stopped asking anyway. By the way, where did you find that man? Conan questioned in curiosity. The masked man shrugged again. Found him battling Kakashi, Hitaki, and Zabuza Mamaki at the bridge construction zone in the Land of Waves. It seems the team of Kakashi includes the Keibi Jinuriki and your brother Itachi. That boy finally managed to awaken his sharing. From a dark corner of the room, Itachi Uchiha raised an eyebrow but didn't answer. The Keibi Jinuriki, huh? Pain asked. His voice showed a hint of interest. How was he? Nothing much, Obito answered. He managed to tap into the Keibi's chakra, but that's it. He's kind of fast for a genin, but except for that, there is nothing special as far as I can see. Well, except for his regeneration ability. That fool decided to take a killing blow meant for Zabuza and was completely healed in just a few seconds. I see. Pain nodded. That might be a problem for us in the future, though. Maybe we should capture him before he becomes too powerful. Wait. Everyone turned towards Itachi, who had just raised his voice. I don't think that will be a wise idea, leader. The Uchiha continued. As far as I know, the Keibi Jinchuriki is very close to the third Hokage. If we try to capture him right now, it might pull us into an all-out war with Kanehage and might lead to the Fourth Shinobi World War if our action is revealed to other countries. With the Akatsuki as it is right now, I don't think we can afford such a large-scale war at the moment. Everyone stopped to digest what Itachi had just said. That does make sense. Pain nodded after a thought. Then this will be what we're going to do now. Itachi, you take Kisame and go to Kanehage to investigate and test that boy to find out how good he is and report back to me and if possible tour him. Meanwhile, Conan and Toby will travel around the elemental countries to find more potential recruitments. Zetsu will continue to investigate about Orochimaru. What about Kuzu? Conan asked. I'll take care of him. Toby raised his hand. I think he said something about needing to find hearts to replace his lost ones. Besides, I heard some rumor about a Jashinist named Hiden in Yuga. Maybe he will be a good partner for our immortal friend. Good. Pain nodded. I'm counting on you, Toby. Now dismiss. Yeah. Na yelled and thrusted his hand forward. The perfectly formed ringan collided with the trunk of a tree in front of him and drilled a large deep round hole into it. Yay completed finally. Naruto punched the sky in excitement. With the ringan completed, he was one step closer to regaining his old power. Good. The voice of Kokuo rose in his head. Now come into your mindscape. We need to talk. The voice of the horse seemed to be harsher and heavier than usual. Ha, what's wrong, Kokuo? Don't ask. Just come in here. Na was confused, not understanding what he had done wrong. He sat down and closed your eyes. Within a blink of an eye, he was inside his mindscape and immediately realized the tailed beasts looking down at him, each of whom was wearing a grim expression on their faces. Ah. What's wrong, guys? Na asked hesitantly. There was definitely something wrong with them. Na, we want to talk to you about that time on the bridge when you jumped into the way of Kakashi to block a Reikiri for Zabuza. Guy started. Naruto's face brightened and he grinned. Oh. That was pretty cool. Hey. There was nothing cool about that, nah. Isabu glared at him. If that jutsu hit you a little bit more to the left, it would have taken your heart away. You were almost killed back there, and you think that was cool. Naruto cringed when the turtle barked those words into his face. He retorted, so what? In the end, I still saved him, right? That wasn't an excuse. This time, it was Koku's voice booming around his mindscape. That action of yours was nothing but foolish. There is nothing funny if you die trying to save people. Na glared at the tailed beasts. Rage started to bubble in his stomach. So, his saving of Zabuza was wrong, was he? Even if I have to die, if I can save them, it's worth it. There's nothing for me to regret about it. Na answered coldly. He didn't expect Shukaku to punch him in the face. Being in her beast form, she hit hard. Na was sent flying like a rag doll. He hit the ground and bounced a few times before slamming hard at the sakura tree. He felt as if all his bones had just been broken. Yes, she hit so hard that Na felt pain even when he was in his mindscape. Did you even think when you said those words? She roared menacingly. Her eyes were full of rage. Did you even stop for a second to remember that if you die, we will all die, too? Oh. Yeah, the tailed beasts can revive if they're dead. So, just let them die. It's no problem. Well, you just go try that yourself. Leave us out of this. You care about someone you only met once and neglect someone who was right next to you. I can't believe I decided to help you at the very beginning. Looking at Na right now, everyone might think that he had just taken a punch to the face. Well, he did, but you know what I mean. He stuttered, but Shukaku didn't let him finish. She continued to scream at his face, her voice booming around him like thunder. And you think risking yourself to save people is good? Well, sorry, it's not. You can save one person or two with it. Yeah, but what about after that? Oh. How can you know? Because you're dead. Dead men can only do one thing, which is lying in the grave and look pretty. If you want to do that, then go on. Go and jump off the Hokage mountain. No one will try to keep you. At least the world will have one less idiot. For the first time in so many years, Naruto Uzumaki of all people couldn't even utter a word to retort. Because what Shukaku had just said was completely true. On the bridge, in the haste of saving Zabuza, he had completely forgotten the crucial fact that all the tailed beasts inside him would also die if he was dead. He had plunged himself into the hand of death, risking the lives of all the ones he had just called his friends just a few days ago, only for some people he had known for about 4 days. He didn't even spare a second to think what would happen if they were dead. I think they were right. Na Kurama, who had stayed silent since Na arrived at his mindscape, chose this moment to speak up. Maybe I shouldn't have encouraged you like I did on the bridge. Risking your life for nothing is a poor repayment for everyone who cherishes you. Na slumped on the ground. More than ever, he felt like a jerk. Sorry everyone, he mumbled in shame. It was all my fault. I was too weak. I couldn't think of any other way to save him. Then his face hardened. But it means I have to push myself harder. I swear the next time something like that happens, I will be ready to face it without risking my life. Can you please help me? The tailed beasts looked at each other and shook their heads. Na was still Na no matter what happened, but at least he was not going to kill himself this time. Then I think it's time to push your training to the next level. Kokuo said. Sasaki was walking in the market district of Kanahagaka. On his hands was a bag full of groceries. Yes, even being an Uchiha, he still had to eat. And that meant he had to go shopping just like everyone else. Food does not fly to your front door by themselves. You know, he arrived at his regular vegetable store. The clerk greeted him with her usual fawning smile. Ah, Uchiha-sama, it's our pleasure to serve you again. Sasaki squirmed uncomfortably. Since the day he was designated into Team 7 and the speeches Naruto and Kakashi delivered to him, he had real eyes that most of the citizens in Kanahagaka flattered him only because of his Uchiha heritage. Even this clerk was not an exception, even though her goods were quite nice. Kuroko-san, I told you not to call me Uchiha-sama, he said, shaking his head. But the clerk only answered him with another disturbingly sweet smile. Nonsense. Uchiha-sama and I have the responsibility of addressing you with that name. Sasaki shuddered. He suddenly felt so violated. He decided to ignore her and turned to his favorite tomato stand, starting to choose the best ones out. Right at that time, 2 more men walked into the store. They came to the counter and started to ask the clerk some questions. Sasaki ignored them, too. What they wanted to do was not of his concern. Even when they wore something as strange as face-hiding cloaks with cloud-shaped patterns in the middle of a sunny day, his ears only perked up when the name Naruto Uzumaki came out. Sasaki was curious. Those guys obviously were not from Konoha. What on earth did they need his teammate for? But the 2 men didn't ask further. When the clerk shook her head with a sneer, they just nodded and walked out of the store without any other question. When one of them opened the door, Sasaki accidentally caught a glimpse of his eyes and everything in his body froze. Sharing. He was looking at a pair of sharing. Wait. He dropped the basket full of tomatoes in his hand unceremoniously and bolted toward the door. But when he managed to get outside, the 2 men had disappeared without a trace. Sasaki's stomach twisted up as if it was thrown into a washing machine. Itachi was back. And he was after Naruto. Okay, calm down. If he is after I just have to get to first. I need to find Naruto. He looked around. And where is Naruto's house anyway? This sucks. Why do I have to do this? Was sitting in his room, flanked by 50 shadow clones. In front of each was a sheet of paper, and each of them was holding pencils on their hands. Kokuo had just explained the first step of his training to him. And could swear he had never heard of any kind of training as absurd as this was. Seriously, training is one thing, but learning how to draw. This is just ridiculous. It's not that absurd, Kokuo chuckled amusingly when he saw the result of Naruto's first attempt. It is the most basic training for ones who want to use creation of all things. Yeah, I know, grumbled unhappily. But why do I have to learn this? First of all, the purpose of this training is actually to teach you how to the blueprint of what you want to create with your chakra. Kokuo assumed his lecture mode. It's just like the shadow clone jutsu. You need a complete perfect blueprint in order to create something with creation of all things. And this time, you cannot use your soul as a replacement. You have to create it yourself with your imagination. Naruto grumbled again. But this is so boring. I thought you're teaching me something cool like those kekgenka thingy you gave your other genturi. The horseman stared at Then he started snorting with laughter. What the heck? Who told you that advanced natures are keen? That's just stupid. What? Squinted in confusion. But Kakashi-sensei said that those are key genka and cannot be learned. Kokuo finally calmed down, chuckled and shook his head. That is simply what humans think. The true key genka here is not having 2 chakra elements. It is actually the ability to multitask. Only a few people are capable of doing it naturally. Therefore, the ability to use advanced natures is mistaken by humans as key genka. It is a very hard skill and takes a very long time to master, but it can be learned. Kurama, who chose that moment to walk into the room, laughed. That fool Orochimaru, he kidnapped a bunch of people who can use advanced natures, thinking that if he took their body, he could use their abilities. So, even if the body has the right elements, the person who has it still cannot use the advanced element without training, muttered. His face now looked more like a cute fox than ever. But wait, then what about the wood style? Moa could use it after taking the first gene. Ah. That suddenly the two-tailed beast scream. Well, that ability is not a Keek Genka either. It is actually a tailed beast skill engraved into the genetic material of the first Hokage. And because of that, there is no other in his family inherited that ability from him, but ones with his DNA can use it. That's disturbing, though. Na blinked. Tailed beast skill just like those lava and ink things you guys can do. Actually, no. Kokuo shook his head. When we were created by our father, beside the immense chakra of the Jubi, he also gifted each of us with one of his own special traits. Kurama has his regeneration and the ability to sense negative emotions. Guy has his skills in Fu and Jutsu. Goku inherits his extreme talent in Taijutsu. Matabi gets both the ability to create incredibly powerful genjutsu and resisting them. Wow, so I might inherit all those awesome abilities from you? Naruto asked, his eyes sparkling. Kurama chuckled. Actually, some of them are not that awesome. Shome gains all of his positive emotions, which made her a happy and cheerful ball of energy as she is now. Sometimes she is still sulking because she doesn't have a special power like us. Kokuo shook his head. Actually, I think she had one of the most helpful gifts. You must understand that the ability to feel happy and think positively is the greatest power in the world. If I remember right, that is what helped you keep standing to fight when Moa had his Renegan back. Am I right? Nah. Na blushed. Just like the old man, always wise and philosophical, huh? Kurama sighed and Kokuo smirked. Na blinked. What about you, Shukaku? Isabu and Siko. Kokuo nodded. I was lucky to be blessed with the sage's sharp thinking and his vast knowledge. Shukaku is the only one of us who can use Enjutsu like a ninja. Isabu inherited his powerful and sturdy body. That's why he was born as a turtle. And Psycho, she has the most powerful life force and the ability to imbue her chakra with life. That is why she was born last. And the reason why the first Hokage has the wood style. Wood or tree is the symbol of life. You know, the power of life is one of the most powerful and dangerous powers in this world. Ha! Naruto's eyes bugged out at this piece of information. So the first used to be the Genchuri of Psycho. Yeah. Kurama nodded. And that's the reason why that man was called the second god of Shinobi. A genius of the Senju clan, blessed with a being with such an absurd power. I thought you were the strongest tailed beast, Naruto teased, and Kurama flustered. That's not relevant, she retorted with a slight blush. Anyway, Psycho is the only one of us who has the ability to breathe the concept of life into her chakra. You know, even though wood was made from earth and water, without life, it would just become mud. And somehow it makes her the only one who can calm us down when we go on rampages. I wonder if the old man did that purposely. When you go on rampages. You mean? Kokuo dead panted. Kurama pouted. Wait. Na exclaimed. If that man was so powerful, how could he die anyway? I heard that he was killed. How in the world could there be someone strong enough to kill him? Kurama bit her lip. Well, it is a long story. Boom. Her voice was cut off as a loud, rude knock came from the front door, rocking the house. Someone was outside, knocking, no, smashing at the door to come in. In less than a second, Na had been in the corridor. He glared at the door wearily. It's not like his new home was an S-rank secret or something, but what kind of people would want to smash his door down like that? He silently sent the telepathic message to all the tailed beasts, and with a loud pop all of them were back in his head. He drew a kunai ready to fight back. Na, Kurama said in alarm, I can sense powerful and hostile chakra outside. There are two there. The Akatsuki stand aside, bellowed a rough voice. 2 seconds later, the front door was blasted from its hinges, revealing the familiar figures of Kisameho Shigaki and Itachi Chiha. Yeah. Kurama's voice once again echoed through his head. Everything was completely messed up. Naruto was running like hell on the road leading to the waterfall outside of the village. He couldn't fight the two Akatsuki members inside the village. It's too dangerous. Now, when he started thinking about it, how could he fight those two anyway? With Itachi, that man used fire, so wind jutsu was out of the question. The tailed beasts inside him could break his genjutsu, and his taijutsu, according to what he knew, was not very good. With Kisame, yeah, he was a huge problem. His chakra-sucking sword was nothing but trouble, and that man didn't seem to have a weak point after all. But maybe if he kept his distance, he might be able to outspeed him with the chakra shroud and pelt him with weapons from afar. With both of them, he was screwed. Completely screwed. But I don't understand. Why does Itachi do this? He's a good guy. Na wailed in his head. Yeah, right. But he is still a jerk. Kurama snorted. Remember the day at the end? Those two would have killed you had the pervert not shown up. Na grimaced. He remembered how Itachi had allowed the shark man to cut off his legs. And how Sasaki had been minded so brutally he was put into a coma for half a month. The only chance for him was to get some help. The first ones he could think about was of course Old Man Hokage and Kakashi Sensei. But the two Akatsuki had noticed his attempt right away and had done a very good work of preventing him from getting anywhere near the urban area of the village. If he had his toad summons, he could contact Jiraiya immediately. But Pervy Sage liked to do his researches at the waterfall. Hopefully, he might be there. It's very close. Then Naruto skidded into an abrupt halt. There was no sign of Jiraiya anywhere near the waterfall. Even a slightest trace of chakra. Well, I'm in big trouble now. Suddenly, from nowhere, the two Akatsuki members jumped out, blocking his way. Na jumped back. His hand immediately took out a kunai. There was no other way left. He had to fight. But what could he do? There's no way he could go all out without making himself suspicious. I told you, Itachi. Cutting his legs off will make it less troublesome. The blue man laughed and the Uchiha nodded. Very well, do it, but don't take it too long or the village will notice. Naruto's spine went cold. Itachi was serious. Guys, we need to fight. Can you help me? Of course, we will, Na, Kokuo answered. But with these guys, you cannot win with power alone. Therefore, you should advance with caution and don't risk yourself. Do you understand? Na nodded silently. Good. Then, Kurama, give him 2 tails of your chakra. Naro, flare the chakra up as hard as you can. Kurama quirked an eyebrow irritatingly for being ordered around, but still gave Naro her chakra. In less than a second, Na could feel the warm chakra of the vixen filling his core and spreading arrow. ND his chakra network. He let out a loud battle cry and the chakra blasted out of his body, roaring like a tornado, sending a shock wave around the field. Finally, it settled down in the form of a golden chakra cloak around Naruto's body with 2 radiant tails sticking out from behind. Oh, at 3 different locations around Kanahagik, 3 people suddenly turned their heads. Their brains shared the very same thought. Na. Oh, Sasaki was running on the street of the suburb. He remembered Na told him that his new house was somewhere around here. But where? Suddenly, he stumbled. He felt something. Some kind of force had just exploded at the waterfall at the rear of the village. It was just a slight sensation, but he could swear that he felt it. What was happening over there? Oh, finally decided to use the beast's chakra. Kisum grinned, his sharp teeth bared menacingly. This will be interesting. Na smirked back. Of course it is. How can I defeat you without using the Kyabi's chakra? Anyway, defeat us. Kiss broke out laughing. Did you hear that, Itachi? He's going to defeat us. Haha, this is rich. Itachi didn't answer. Instead, he narrowed his eyes. Naruto, you're going to come with us if you don't want to be killed. He said. Now, Naruto roared and kicked the ground hard, launching himself at the 2 Akatsuki members like a missile. He flew toward Kisum, who raised his sword to smash him aside and drain his chakra and past him, aiming at Itachi, standing behind him a few meters. He swiped at the Uchiha, only for the older man to lean back and avoid his hand. This is not enough, too. Itachi's words were cut off abruptly when an arm made of chakra emerged from Naruto's right shoulder and punched him at the face. He quickly reinforced his arms with chakra and blocked the attack right in time before it smashed into his face. He stumbled back. Both his arms, even buffed with chakra, felt numb as if they had been hit by a sledgehammer. So this is the power of the 9 tails. He's trying to use his advantages in physical abilities. Clever fire style, fireball jutsu, Itachi bellowed, and a ball of fire much larger than what Sasaki could use blasted out of his mouth, aiming at the golden boy. The fireball exploded upon contact, and Naruto was drowned in a sea of flame. Itachi jumped back a few steps, eyeing the cloud of smoke in front of him wearily. There's no way that boy was killed with that level of jutsu. Then suddenly from the cloud of smoke, Naruto burst out. On his hand was a pitch-black sphere of chakra. He roared and pushed a black mini-tailed beast bomb at Itachi's stomach. But from who knows where, Kisame appeared in front of Itachi and swung his sword hard directly at Naruto's hand, which was holding the sphere of destruction. In just a second, the sphere was devoured completely together with Naruto's chakra shroud, and Naruto's bare hand crashed into the spiky blade of the sword with a sickening crack. He screamed in pain and dropped to the ground. His right broken arm was hanging at a very strange angle, and he popped into smoke. Shadow Clone, then 2 punches, one real, one made of chakra, smashed into Itachi and Kisame from behind. Naruto had moved since who knows when, and had successfully delivered a blow at the 2 Akatsuki, or at least that's what he thought. Itachi and Kisame exploded violently, blasting him away. His body slammed hard at a tree nearby, and the tree broke in half. Naruto groaned, "Damn it. What is that jutsu? It hurt." Shadow Clone explosion. Kokuo grimaced. "Those 2 are better than I thought. You have some remarkable skills, Naruto," Itachi said when he was stepping out of the dust cloud. "Unfortunately, those powers are still no way near our level." Still, Kisame laughed next to him. His grin was malicious. "His chakra is very delicious. I wonder if I can drain him a little bit more before bringing him to leader. It's such a waste to let go of such a powerful tank of chakra." "Well, fighting with tactics is down the toilet," Naruto grimaced. "So, what do we do now? Do you even have to ask?" Goku bellowed inside his head when Kokuo started opening his mouth to speak. "If you cannot defeat someone with quality, crush them with quantity." Everyone except Na face pumped. "Right," Na muttered. He molded as much chakra as he could and formed his signature hand seal. Shadow CL. He was cut off as an unexpected person rushed into the clearing. "Itachi. Ha." Kiss leered at the newcomer and raised an eyebrow. "Isn't that your little brother, Itachi?" Itachi didn't answer. Not even bothering to turn his head, he asked, "What do you want?" He expected the younger Uchiha to freak out and scream gibberish about killing him to revenge the clan. However, what escaped Sasuke's mouth startled him. "I want an answer to the night of the massacre. The truth." Trying his best to keep his face calm and emotionless as usual, Itachi said, "I thought I've made it clear to you. If you want to kill me, enough with that bullshit." Sasuke suddenly roared. "The Hokage explained everything to me. The Kyuubi attack, the coup, your Tsukuyomi," and Sasuke suddenly found himself standing in darkness. The scenes of the massacre once again flashed around him, but different from before. Sasuke didn't feel scared or angry. Right now, in his head, there was only sadness and sympathy. "So, it is really true," he mused. "If it weren't, you wouldn't have to do this to stop me." "How much did the Hokage tell you, Sasuke?" Itachi asked. For the first time, he was looking at Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke answered him with a question. "Who was the real person who massacred the clan? Why do you think that there is another person?" Itachi asked slowly. "The Hokage might be lying to you. I might really be the one who did the whole massacre." The words of Itachi actually made sense. What if there was actually no one there? And everything the Hokage said was a lie? "No, I don't believe it." Those words were said with such an absolute certainty that even Sasuke himself was surprised. "Come again, I don't believe it," Sasuke repeated. "When I think about it, everything made sense. The murder I might not understand, but the fact that the coup was going to happen is undeniable. I'm also an Uchiha. I've heard that kind of things from father too many times to even doubt something like that could ever happen. Besides," he added, "honestly, that night, I remember you crying. That is not something a mass murderer like you claim to be can do. I might just be a kid, but I can still see the sadness and regret in your eyes that night. It is not something that can be faked. I'm your brother. I know you, Itachi. You're not someone who likes to kill other for no reason. Please, Itachi, why didn't you trust me, your own brother?" The two pairs of sharing looked directly into each other. Itachi closed his eyes for a while. Then, when he opened them again, in his face was a sad smile. "You've truly grown, Sasuke. Yes, what the Hokage said was true. But I'm sorry, Sasuke. This is not the time for you to know everything. The enemy I'm facing is not someone you can face. Not with your ability right now. Train yourself hard, become stronger, then come face me." I promise when that day comes, I will tell you the whole truth. Wait, Itachi. Sasaki called when Itachi raised his hands to cancel the genjutsu. If that enemy was so powerful, why didn't you come back to the village? There are many powerful shinobi here. I'm sure they can help. No, Sasuke, I cannot come back now. Itachi shook his head. My mission is still not complete. That enemy is the most dangerous person in the world. Normal shinobi are no match for him. This is a job I have to do alone. Your duty is to become more powerful and mend the reputation of the Uchiha clan. Until then, he said when the surrounding scenes started fading away, stay safe and never let hatred overwhelm your mind. Wait, Itachi, wait. Sash screamed, but everything around him had already disappeared. Kiss, we're leaving. The shark man looked back at the Uchiha and wed that soon. I'm starting to have fun here. If my foolish little brother is here, there's no reason not to believe that other shinobi in Konoha do not sense this bat. Itachi cut him short, pointing at his unconscious brother on the ground. There might be reinforcement in only a few minutes. Remember what leader said, we cannot reveal ourselves to Konoha. Not yet. Tch Kism snorted unhappily. I was hoping to take some more of the beast's chakra for myself, but it can't be helped. Consider this your lucky day, Jinchuriki. We will someday come back and get you. And with that, the two rogue shinobi disappeared with body flicker. Na followed their emotional signatures until they left the village completely, then sighed in relief and relaxed himself. His shroud of chakra faded away. At least he's safe for now. Next to him, Sasaki groaned and woke up. Wow, that's fast, Kurama noted. The last time Itachi did that, he was put into a coma for a month. Tim, are you okay? Na yelled, jumping to his friend. What did Itachi do to you? It's nothing. I'm fine, Sasaki muttered. Where is Itachi? He escaped. Naruto answered. Right at that time, 3 other people flickered into the clearing. Naruto, Sasaki, are you two all right? Kakashi shouted when he saw his 2 students. Na grinned and waved back at him. We're all right, sensei. What happened? Na asked Serbi, who was already in his battle gear with his adamanting staff on his hand. Na replied, it's Itachi and his partner Jiji. I think they're here for well. He trailed off, remembering that Sasaki was still there. Jiraiya, the third person appearing in the clearing, looked at the boy on the ground. Itachi, then did Sasaki, he told me, was the only answer of the Uchiha boy, and Serbi and Jiraiya immediately understood. The old Hokage sighed in relief. That's good. Well, let's take you home for now. It's already a hard day for you. Sasaki took the hand Na offered him and pulled himself up. When they started walking back, Sasuke suddenly asked, Na, what is that golden chakra you used against them? The 4 other people cringed. Kakashi started, Sasuke, this is not the time. No, sensei, this is the time. Na suddenly cut him short. I'll tell him, are you sure, Na? Serbi asked wearily. That information is dangerous. Sasaki is my teammate. Jiji. He deserved to know about it. Naruto retorted sharply. Then he turned to Sasaki. Sasaki, let's go get Sakura, too. I was planning to tell you two this. Anyway, half an hour later, Team 7 plus Jiraiya and the Hokage were sitting in the living room of Sasuke's house. The Uchiha looked at Naruto. Well, Dobby, well, the truth is Naruto took a deep breath. I'm the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi. After Na revealed his story, the room was filled with dense, heavy silence. Finally, Sakura was the first person to raise her voice. So, it's true, she stammered. My mother always says that you're a demon, and she's right. You're the Kyuubi which killed the 4th Hokage. What did you say? Jiraiya bellowed and bolted up, slamming his hands on the table in the process, causing the 3 children to jump. Jiraiya, no, Shirobi shouted, his eyes flashing with authority. When Jiraiya grumbled and sat down, the old Hokage looked straight into Sakura's eyes and said calmly. Sakura Haruno, from now on, you will refrain from speaking those words. Naruto is not a monster, and he doesn't deserve to be called one, despite what someone might say. But he just said. Sakura stuttered. Why? Everyone turned towards Sasaki, who had just blurted out that word in a trembling voice. So you plan to turn Na into a weapon for the village? Why isn't being an orphan hard enough for him? The boy continued in his voice. There was a hint of anger. Surby sighed. Actually, making Naruto Genturi is something the fourth Hokage never wanted to do. The Kyuubi is too powerful, leaving it roaming around as incredibly dangerous. I take offense to that, Kurama grumbled in Naruto's mind. And if it falls into the hand of evil people, just like 12 years ago, well, you of all people should know the consequences of it. Sasaki. Surby continued in a desperate attempt before his death. The fourth Hokage and his wife sacrificed their lives to seal the Kyuubi inside Naruto, hoping he could keep the beast at bay and protect it as well as this world from people who try to harness its power for evil. Therefore, the old Hokage shook his head solemnly. Naruto should be considered a hero, not a demon. Allowing that to happen was completely my fault and my fault alone. For a while, the air was completely silent, except for the chirping of some crickets outside. Then, Sakura spoke in a hoarse voice. But why? Nah, surely, there can be many other people he could use to contain the beast for him. Why used a baby who had just been born? Every adult in the room looked at each other awkwardly. Sakura Kakashi said, "This is not the time for that. Because I am his son." Everyone looked like they had just been shocked by 1,000 volts of electricity. Sarobi exclaimed in horror. Nah, you didn't. Yes, I did. Gigi, said Naruto mutinously. And I don't regret it. That is my secret, and I have the right to tell it to whoever I want. Oh. Quit lying, you idiot, Sakura snapped in annoyance. There is no way the like of you is the son of someone like the fourth Hokage. But she faltered when she saw the face of the adults in the room. No way. She slapped a hand to her mouth. It is really true. Naruto is really the son of the fourth. Yes, he is, Jiraiya answered grimly. And this is an S-ranked secret, so don't even think of telling other people about this or you'll be executed unless it was Naruto himself who allowed you to. Silence once again filled the air. Then Sakura asked hoarsely, but why, if that's true, why didn't you tell the village about it? Surely, if everyone knows, they will. They will do what? Jiraiya cut her short in a harsh voice. Fawn over him. Kiss his as they already did with Sasuke. Like you already did with Sasaki. No. We had wanted him to live a normal life as a normal boy who does not know anything about reputation. Far away from the spoiling you civilians had already given Sasuke over there. But unfortunately, he spat on the ground. What happened to Naruto is way worse than we thought. Everyone winced. Those words of Jiraiya touched Sasaki a lot, but he didn't feel angry because he knew everything the man had just said was the truth. I think that's enough for today, Surby said and stood up. He didn't even raise his voice. Yet, there was a finality in his tone that told everyone not to question further. Nah sas, you two should take a good rest. Today, you have suffered a lot, he added before stepping out of the house. The two other adults looked at each other and at the three children once more and followed the Hokage. But Sasaki and Naruto didn't want to rest at all. How did you stand it, Dobby? How hadn't you gone mad with all those mistreatment everyone made you suffer? Na looked at Sasaki and smiled. I'm not very sure myself. It's just like I've become familiar with it, but if you think about it, they had a reason to do it. You know they have lost the precious people to them during the attack, so of course they will be angry. I don't blame them. Sasaki gasped in horror. But you're not the Kyuubi at all. Na smiled sadly, but they didn't know it, did they? You're not to blame if you're unaware. For a while, the two boys sat next to each other in silence. Then Sasuke suddenly said something Na thought he would never have a chance to hear in his life. I'm sorry. It's unnecessary to say how shocked Naruto was right now. Sorry for what? It's basically our clan's fault that you have to lose your parents and suffer a terrible life. Had it not been for that Uchiha who summoned the Kyuubi to destroy the village. It's worth noting that not only Naruto was surprised. Wow, Guyuki said in awe. This Sasaki is completely different from the Sasaki in our timeline. Yeah. Kokuo nodded wisely. It's terrifying to see what the truth can do. Na couldn't say anything for a while. Then he smiled and slapped his friend's back. Hey, it's okay. Everything's gone is gone. At least you're my friend now. That's enough to compensate for everything in the past. The best we can do now is not letting it happen again, right? Yeah, Sasaki sighed. And Na could see in his face something he hadn't seen for a while, a smile. Sakura was lying on her bed. She thought about what Jiraiya had told her at Sasuke's house. Is what he said true? Do I only love Sasuke only because he is the last Uchiha? Am I not any different from the other girls in my class? That stupid old man doesn't know anything about true love. He's just spouting nonsense. Sure, he in herself screamed in her mind. Soccer aside, true love, huh? She closed her eyes. Right, her love for Sasuke is definitely true. She believes it. A memory flashed before her closed eyes. Oh, flashback. 1 year ago. Come on, Sakura-chan. Why do you like that idiot Sasake over me? An 11-year-old Naruto wed after the back of Sakura. Isn't it obvious? She snapped back with a raised eyebrow. Sasake, __, is the most handsome boy in the whole academy, and he is the last of the famous Uchiha clan. And you're stupid, annoying, and always do silly things. Who would want you over someone like Sasake, __, but he's a jerk. Na protested weakly. So what? He's still way better than the like of you. But oh, shut up. Sakura finally had enough. She punched Na in the gut. You're annoying. Then she marched away with her nose in the air, leaving Na on the ground writhing in pain. End. Flashback. Oh my god, he's right. I'm just like other people. I'm so stupid. But Sasuke is not a jerk now. Her inner self protested. Yeah, but even with that, is it really worth it? Sakura let out a deep sigh. She remembered everything she had lost for her love, her friendship with Ino, her chance to know and get close to other people. Including Na. Hell, even her real purpose when she decided to attend the Ninja Academy, since who knows when it was completely replaced by to be together with my beloved Sasake, __, it made her a useless fangirl who didn't know anything except making up and fawning after Sasake, __, suddenly. Why? She bolted up from her bed. She quickly got dressed and rushed out of her house, ignoring her mother, yelling behind her to be home early for dinner. Her love to Sasuke might stay unchanged, but the other things need to be fixed. It's time for her to grow up. She had to apologize to Ino, apologize to Naruto, but the first thing she needed to do was 30 minutes later. Kakashi-sensei, please teach me how to be stronger. There's only 1 month left until the Chunin exam. Until then, I want to ensure that you 3 are ready for it. Because of that, starting from today, there will be no missions for Team 7, and I will start training you seriously. Do you understand? Yes, sir. The 3 members of Team 7 echoed. Kakashi's eyes smiled. Good. Then, Sasake, during this month, you will train with me in order to develop your lightning element and your sharing to the best you can. Nah, don't worry about me, sensei. Na waved his hand dismissively. I bugged Pervia Sage all yesterday and he finally had to accept training me. Ha, so you were told this before? Sasake raised an eyebrow. Naruto grinned. Actually, Gigi told me. Do you really think that Kakashi-sensei can do this without asking for permission from the Hokage? Sasake grumbled something about not fair having a relationship with the Hokage. What about me, sensei? Sakura asked hopefully. Kakashi smiled. Don't worry. I think your trainer will be here soon. Ah, there she is. Sakura's spine suddenly froze when a cold finger brushed against her right cheek and a warm breath breezed across her ear. Ah, so she's the one you want me to train, Kakashi. Kyuku, don't worry. I'll be sure to break her thoroughly for you. But remember, you owe me something, Cyclops. Now, off we go. The newcomer grabbed Sakura's shoulder and both disappeared in a quick body flicker. Na and Sasake stared at the place where their teammate had just stood a few seconds ago for a while. Then Na finally managed to open his mouth. Is that the crazy snake lady? Kakashi chuckled. Don't say that in front of Anko or she will flay you alive, Na. But what did you do to make her to train Sakura anyway? Na raised an eyebrow. I heard that she insisted to stay at Tokubetu Janin just because she doesn't want to teach any genin. Kakashi chuckled again. You'll be surprised to know what a free month of all-you-can-eat dango can do. Now, Sasake, I think it's time for us to go for our training. Are you ready? Sasake smirked. Of course I do. I'm waiting to spar against you after this month. Sasake. Naruto grinned at the other boy. Sasake grinned back. Oh. By the way, Naruto, the money for Anko's dango is from your account, so take care. Kakashi's eyes smiled at Na. But before Na could let out an outrageous cry, Kakashi and Sasake had disappeared in another quick flicker. Damn you, Kakashi-sensei. Looks like the prankster has just been pranked, Isabu said while all the tailed beasts snickered in his mind. Oh. Shut up. The days of Team 7's training seemed to slip by as though someone had fixed the clocks to make it work at double speed. Before Na could even realize it, the month had passed, and finally, it was the day the team had assigned for another meeting. Right now, Na was skipping on the street. He couldn't wait to see how much his friends had grown with all the training they had. There at the end of the street, his teammates were coming and they really had changed. Naruto almost couldn't recognize Sakura in her new look. Instead of her old red chong tong, she was now wearing a very provocative black skin-tight bodysuit that looked suspiciously like a leotard. Along her waist, a short pink skirt covered the upper half of her thighs. Her legs were covered in a long pair of black stocking that went over her knees, also holding her caney pouch and a pair of boots. She wore a pair of metal gauntlets on her hands, which made Naru shudder while thinking of what would happen if she tried punching him on his head like before. Over all these setup was a long grey coat extended to her knees, reminding everyone of Anko herself. Her Kanehage headband was tied neatly around her neck, and her familiar long pink hair was tied up into a high ponytail behind her head. In short, there are only two words that can explain Sakura's look right now, which are endangerous. Sasaki, in contrast, didn't look too different. His look right now was similar to what he wore during the Chunin exam in Naruto's timeline. A short black shirt, a white pair of shorts, and bandages covering his arms and legs. But now outside of his shirt, he wore a short jacket that looked not unlike Kakashi's Jonin uniform, but without any pocket and seemed to be reinforced with something metallic on the chest area. He wore a pair of black gloves engraved with metal symbols of the Uchiha clan at the back of his hands. A Ndia katana was strapped tightly on his belt at the back. But the greatest change in him was that his body was much more well-toned than before. Not as much as the fourth Raikage A or his brother Killer B, but still enough for Naruto to see muscles even with all the bandages, and his sharing were now activated constantly with 3 tomo in each eye. Wow, Sakura, you look great. Na said in awe. Sakura giggled. You do not look so bad either. Sasaki smirked. Got any more powerful? Na smirked back. He really had pushed himself to the limit during this training month. His body, while still not as powerful as in his time, had developed quite nicely, to the point that he could use half of Kurama's chakra at once without feeling any pain. He still couldn't enter full-tailed beast mode yet, but still more than enough for any enemy below his rank. Beside getting back the Toad summoning contract, he had managed to remaster his recent and could use it 3 times consecutively with his own chakra, though the beasts had forbidden him from using it unless the Akatsuki decided to attack. And his creation of all things had advanced enough for him to create common things like clothes, which was represented by the new black and orange jacket with the Uzumaki symbol on the back he was wearing outside of his normal clothes right now. I still think it needs some more uniqueness, Matabe said inside his head. Maybe if you had made it red and longer with an exposing bar. Oh. Will you please cut it out, Makan? Na dead panted. The cat pouted and Na rolled his eyes. Ah. So you 3 are finally here. The 3 of them turned to see Kakashi coming toward them. He looked exactly the same as before. The sleeveless black shirt, the Jonin flak jacket, the mask, the forehead protector tilted to the left to hide his sharing. But Na could feel something completely different exuding out of his body. Something incredible, something powerful. It's just like a weapon of mass destruction was shoved into the clothes of Kakashi. Naruto's eyes bugged out of their sockets. Oh my god, Kakashi-sensei is here on time. Ah. Armageddon is coming. Run for your life. He screamed hysterically and ran around and received a boot to his head. That is not very nice, Na. Kakashi chided him, then handed each of his students a sheet of paper. This is your registration form for the Chunin exam. He gave them his trademark eye smile. And I expect you 3 to be turned after this exam or suffer my displeasure. His eye became dark. All the 3 shuddered in fear. Then suddenly his eye blinked back to the usual smile. Oh. But no pressure. Everyone broke into laughter. Yeah. Na pumped his fist on the air. Let's get this show on the road. This time he was ready for anything. In a dark corner of the highest tower of Omegaka, 2 people were kneeling in front of a throne. I'm very disappointed of you, Itachi. Kisame. I'm sorry, leader, Itachi answered with a monotone voice. That Genturi is not skilled, but he is quite sly. Had it not been for my time in Kanahagaka, he would have outrun us. True, but in the combat side, he's nothing to be worried about. Kisum grinned. Even with that, Pain cut them short. You alerted Kanahagakar about our presence, and it is a little too soon to reveal ourselves to the world. You disobeyed me, and as the rule, I should punish you. Pain raised his hand, and Itachi and Kisum tensed up, ready themselves to fight. However, this time, I will forgive you. You've done at least a good job evaluating the ability of the Kyuubi Genturi. Considering what you told me about him, there is nothing to fear. When the time comes, I'll go capture him myself. Now, Itachi Kisame, I have another job for you. In the border of Iwagaka, there is an S-ranked international terrorist named Dodera. He used to be in the explosion corps of Iwagaka. You two go there and make sure to recruit him. I'm counting on you. Your arrogance will someday come back to bite you. Pain, Itachi thought when the two walked out of the throne room. Team 7 was on their way to the academy where the first task of the Chunin exam was held. Na was gripping his registration form tight in his right hand. The Chunin exam was one of the most memorable milestones in his life. It was the first time he met another Genturi, the first time he fought in a war, and his stomach twisted with this thought. The first time one of his precious people died, and he couldn't do anything to help. Then just don't let him die this time, Shukaku said. Naruto smiled. Shukaku is still Shukaku. Despite being much nicer than before, she's still as rude and blunt as ever. Speaking about the Chunin exam, if it was held in the academy, the first task should be the written test, just like during his time. Written test. God, that was the most stupid thing I've heard in my life. Goku snorted in Naruto's head. Seriously, written test in an exam for shinobi. Yeah, and that's why we call you a muscle head with no brain at all, Matabi said dryly. Hey, Na sighed. Since he had the nine-tailed beasts living together with him, he had been used to the usual bickering. Sometimes it just caused him massive headaches. Still, Na couldn't help but agree with the monkey. Seriously, couldn't Gigi and the guys in charge come up with something more interesting? Written tests suck. Too busy with his thoughts. He didn't even realize he had just walked past the Sand siblings who were also on their way to the test room. Hey, you over there, what are your names? Only when Gar called did Na realize the existence of the three foreign ninja in the corridor. He turned and saw that the redhead was staring at Team 7 with a calculating look. Gar still looked the same as Naruto could remember. Pale green eyes without eyebrows. The kanji of love carved into his forehead, the gourd on his back. Wait a second here. If Gar had the gourd, it would mean impossible. I can feel my power inside him. How can he have my power? I'm right here. He heard Shukaku muttering in his head. Coincidentally, he was also sharing the same question. So that's it. Kokuo grimaced. Now I finally understand. What's wrong, Kokuo? Why does Gar still have the power of Shukaku? Naro questioned Sasake Uchiha. But before Kokuo could answer, Sasake already said. Gar nodded and looked at Na. His stare looked like it could drill a hole into his head. Na blinked. He had to leave the matter aside until later. Na Azuaki. He answered. He couldn't know what was happening inside the redhead's brain, but judging by the crazy and almost painful twisting of his face, he could understand that whatever in his head was causing him a massive headache. Oi. What is whatever in his head supposed to mean? Shukaku asked in an annoyed voice. Uchiha and Azuaki. Finally, after getting a hold of himself, Gar looked at the two boys. A maniacal grin twisted his face. You are both powerful. By killing you, I will prove my existence. His hand reached up toward the cord of the gourd. In reflex, Team 7 all jumped into their fighting stances. Naruto pulled out a kana. Sasake reached the hilt of his katana and Sakura flicked her hands, pulling out a few sunburn hidden in her sleeves. Tamari, who was standing right next to Gar, shouted worriedly, Gar, stop. This is not the time to fight. Remember what the case cage had said. Just wait until the exam has already started. For a few seconds, it seemed Gar wanted to go on with the killing despite whatever the case cage had said. But then his hand stopped, and he threw a glare at Team 7 before walking away and entering the testing room. Tamari and Conker looked at each other worriedly and followed him without a word. Sakura looked at her hands. Even under the gauntlets, She could feel them drenched with sweat. Who is that guy? It's just like me, Na muttered. He's also a genturi. I can feel it. It's not a complete lie. Though Shukaku herself had said that she could feel her power inside Ga, but that brought him to the question Beth. Or, how was that possible? So, what exactly happened? Kokuo. Right after settling down on a desk in the classroom, Naruto immediately dozed off and arrived in his mindscape to meet the beasts. He needed an answer for this problem and fast. Kokuo sighed. Well, it's just a theory of mine. But oh, never mind. Everyone, since when we arrived here, have you ever felt any strain to your bodies, like you were going to be crushed, smothered, disintegrated, or something similar, even when you were alone? Everyone shook their heads. Kokuo nodded. That proves my theory is true. You see, I've been wondering why we weren't crushed by the reality when we arrived here. Because two beings with the exact same identity cannot exist at the same time in one place. It will cause a paradox that might collapse the entire dimension. But there is a fact that we're still here alive and kicking. It means that when we're sent here, we didn't overwrite or replace the existence of anything in this timeline. Instead, we were sent here as completely different beings with different identities from the ones in this timeline. Everyone gave Kokuo the same blank stare. Naruto's was of not understanding anything, while the others were of disbelief. That was the most stupid thing I've ever heard, even more than this whole travel back in time thing, Shukaku said flatly. Yeah, Kurama agreed. There are just too many holes in that theory. But I'm afraid it's the only way to explain the situation right now, Kokuo said grimly. And considering the attack of Itachi and his partner, I think there is a very high chance we might have to deal with Mars' plan again in the near future. Silence covered Naruto's mindscape after this ominous pronouncement. Then Isabu said, I don't know about this, but if what you said was true, then what happened to the narrative of this timeline? Kokuo winced. Well, somewhere else, a lifeless, ragged body of a blonde boy was floating in the dark, empty void of a completely erased world. Oh, I don't know, and I don't think we should ever know about that anyway, he said in a heavy tone after a few seconds of thinking. His face looked kind of sick. Everyone gulped and decided it would be best not to question further. But what are we going to do now? Matabi asked worriedly. I don't think we need to do anything. Everyone turned to Guyuki, who had just said those words. The octopus shook his head and shrugged. Think about it. Since we first arrived here, everything has gone astray. Even the things that actually happened in our past have gone wrong in some way. So why should we think so hard about it? The most important thing to do right now is to keep Na alive until after this exam first. Yeah, Shukaku added after a thought. Orochimaru is going to attack in this exam, right? We should worry about stopping that mad snake first. You're right, Naruto muttered. Ga was here. It meant Orochimaru was very likely planning to attack Konoha just like in his past. He's going to sneak into the Forest of Death during the second task to mark Sasaki with the cursed mark. Naruto opened his eyes and looked around him. If what he thought was true, Orochimaru was in this room right now, disguised as a participant. Hey Na, on your left at 9 o'clock, Naruto's head snapped towards that direction. Orochimaru. Na, __. Instead of Orochimaru, he saw Haku running toward him in Team 7. No. Your girlfriend Goku snickered. Na's face wrined. This is not the time for joke. Haku actually looked quite different from what Naruto remembered her to be. She was now wearing a bluish-white long-sleeved sweater which looked very form-fitting on her, revealing the developing curves hidden under her gender-hiding kimono. Her pants from before was replaced by a short light blue skirt covering her thighs, giving her easy mobilization during battle. Her kurika headband was tied on her neck just like Sakura, and her long hair was gathered in a white bun on her head. And she looked much more cheerful and happy than he remembered her to be in Wave. Good morning, Uchiha Sanyuno-san, she bowed when arrived at Team 7's desk. Haku-chan, Na exclaimed. You're taking the Chunin exam, too. Haku giggled. Of course I am. You think you're the only ones allowed to take it. But I thought Zabuza decided to give up being a ninja. Naruto blinked. Haku smiled and shook her head. After you left Waves, Dad got an invitation from Kurika to return to the village. He did, and now were representatives of Kurija in this Chunin exam. He's also rebuilding the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and 2 of them are my teammates. They're over there. She pointed at a table afar behind Na. From there, a boy wearing nerd glass with a big bandage packaged on his back and another boy with white long hair wearing a black jacket waved back. So, even the new generation of the 7 swordsmen of the mist is here, Sasaki muttered with a grin. This is a good chance for me to test my ability. Oh. That last scream was because of Naruto's hand, slapping him on the crown of his head. What the heck was that for, idiot? He glared at Na and snapped angrily. Na just chuckled. Be nice or I'll just hit you again. Sasaki grumbled. Hey, it's Naruto's group over there. Naruto turned towards the entrance of the room. All the others of the Konoha 11 had just arrived. Ino, just as usual, immediately latched on Sasaki like a leech, much to the Uchiha's horror and disgust. Surprisingly, Sakura didn't have any reaction except for a frown and a slight twitch of her right arm. It seemed the training month with Anko had finally broken it into her. Naro, you look different, Shikamaru said in a bored voice. Na raised an eyebrow. Of course I look different. Do you really think that I would stay annoying, forever? But you are really different. Choji agreed with his best friend while chomping down chips from his bag. You look more powerful, more mature, totally unlike you. I grew up. Okay. Na shrugged. He really didn't expect that his change in personality made everyone so surprised. Seriously, everyone grows, right? What they surprise about is that it was you who grew up, Shukaku said dryly. Na growled in his head. Yeah, right, thanks a lot, Shuki-chan. He drawled and Shukaku bristled. Meanwhile, Haku turned to the ones she knew in the group. Hyuga-san, Aburame-san, Inuzuka-san. Nice to meet you again, she bowed politely. She lifted her head and was startled to see Hinata glaring at her with a menacing aura exuding out of her. While Ka and Shino seemed to cower in fear. Wah. Ka hastily pulled Haku to a side and whispered, Haku-san, please don't do anything which can upset Hinata right now. You don't want to know what will happen if she's pissed off. Well, after that incident in Waves, you know. Haku blinked innocently. Ah. What incident? Ka face-palmed. This he made a gesture resembling a kiss with his hands. Incident. Do you remember? Haku's face heated up intensely when she remembered that. Oh, she murmured. But before Haku could say anything else, another voice rose behind the group. For a bunch of newbies, you sure are an interesting group, aren't you? Everyone turned toward the direction of the voice, and the rage inside Na immediately boiled up, as intense as a volcano going to erupt. Kabuto, who are you? You look suspicious, Ino asked, looking at the man wearily. Kabuto chuckled. Just a veteran wanting to share some experience to the newbies. I've taken this exam before, you know. Really? Neji from behind the group raised an eyebrow. So, you failed your first exam. Actually, this is my 7th time. Kabuto answered with a smile. Ha, you suck. Ka laughed. Kabuto chuckled. Well, let's look on the bright side. At least my failures provided me with important information about many things related to the exam. You see, I store them in these cards and when I imbue them with chakra, but Naruto didn't pay attention to what Kabuto was saying anymore. If Kabuto was here, that meant his suspicion was true. Orochimaru really was trying to mark Sasaki and attack the village during the exam. And right now, he was in this room disguising as someone. Na took a quick glance around the room. Gar and his team were sitting in a desk in the middle of the room. The Genturki's killing intent was still leaking out, and he was glaring at Na and his team with a murderous gaze. In a desk at the left corner of the room, a redhead wearing glasses was also staring at the group. Na thought vaguely. That girl was a member of Sasek's crew after his defect during his time. What was her name? Ren, Kiran, Krillin, Karen. Na didn't know, but looking at her, he felt something familiar. Her hair. It looked like that of his mother. He wondered if she was an Uzumaki like her. And in the farthest corner, Naruto's stomach twisted with anger again. Orochimaru. Even under the disguise, Naruto could still feel him. There was no way a kunoichi of Kasugagaka could smell that much like snake. And leaking out that much negative emotions didn't help either. And it seemed he also felt Naruto's gaze over him because he stuck out his long tongue and licked his lips just like a snake. Don't do anything reckless, Naruto. Kakuo warned him. This is a room full of genin. If you try something, it will be disastrous. Keep it until after the first task, or send a shadow clone to alert the Hokage first. The info on the participants isn't perfect, but I managed to get a good chunk of it. He turned his eyes back to the group to see Kabuto showing off his cards to the Konoha 12. Naruto's eyes narrowed, but then he blinked when Sasake and Sakura didn't react to the presence of those cards. Hey, Sasake, I'm going to the toilet. Keep my seat for me. Okay, sure, Sasake answered without taking his eyes off Kabuto. His sharing was locking on the older man's face with a look of suspicion. Naruto wondered what Sasake was thinking. But whatever, alerting the old man was more important than this. He could bust Kabuto later. When he arrived at the men's toilet, forming his signature cross-fingered hand seal was just child's play. Shadow clone jutsu. Even if Orochimaru was strong, he would not be able to get Sasuke in the village that easily, especially when Naruto was here. And what is the best way to do that? Ruining the exam from the root, of course. Gigi. Orochimaru is here. Sarutobi stood up from his desk, pulled away his Hokage cloak to reveal his battle gear under it. In his face was a grim but serious expression. It's time. Anbu, get ready for mobilization. Yes, sir. Abiki Morino, chief of the Interrogation and Torture Division of Kanehage, is a very well-known name in the elemental countries because of the man's ruthlessness when it comes to his job. Since his appointment to the position, there has been no shinobi who hasn't broken down after one or two. Woe of his sessions. Even in mind games, he also proves to be a formidable enemy. Wonder why? Just look at the teams running away from the test room right now to know. At least 2/3 of the teams had been weeded out. Abeki silently glanced around the room and nearly snickered when everyone looked like they had just pissed themselves after his intimidating speech. Or at least until his eyes swept across a certain blonde in black and orange jacket. He scowled in annoyance while other contestants were freaking out and desperatingly finding ways to cheat around. That brat simply did something even Abeki couldn't expect and took a nap. Normally, Abeki would ignore him. It's not his job to take care of lazy napping brat. But when the brat decided to mock him with a loud and clear snore in the middle of the panickingly silent room, a vein popped on Abeki's forehead. He walked quietly to the desk the blonde was sitting, cleared his voice, and bellowed. 50 minutes have passed. Everyone put down your pencil. It's time for the final question. He smirked in satisfaction when the blonde screamed and fell out of his seat. Glancing at the paper on the desk, he saw that all the boxes for answers were still blank. Well, Uzumaki, he said, if you do not want to do the exam, you can just quit and leave the room just like the others. For my teammates to skin me alive. No thanks, answered the brat, who had just climbed back onto the desk. Is that so? Abeki asked, looking at the paper in front of the blonde. But it seems what you're doing doesn't match what you said quite well, I think. Na also looked at his paper. Oh. This. I only need less than 1 minute to fill it. Abeki raised an eyebrow. Really? Prove it. Then the boy picked up his pencil, paused for a second, and blinked, then started writing in an incredible speed, which scared even Abeki himself. In less than a minute, the paper was filled with words. When Abeki looked at the content of the paper, his eyebrows twitched even harder. All the answers were completely correct. What? Na smirked under the glare of the Tokubetsu-jan. Too shocked to even say anything. Sir Proctor Abeki shook his head to calm himself down. Just what kind of genin was Kakashi training anyway? Oh. The incredible kind of genin blessed with an embodiment of knowledge inside his stomach. Kakuo smirked inside Naruto's head. Even a tailed beast needs to have some showing off moment. You know how the hell could he know what Abeki was thinking, though? You got a nice pair of balls, brat. Abeki grinned. His eyes gleamed dangerously. But I wonder if that will be enough for the final question. There is an additional rule for this question. The rule of desperation. Before you take the question, you have to choose whether you want to take it or not. If you don't, your mark will immediately be reduced to 0 and you will fail along with your team. What? A mook in the back of the room yelled. Then of course we will take the question. I'm not finished yet. The proctor shot him a sharp glare. If you choose to take the question and fail to answer it, you will lose the right to take the Chunin exam ever again. Silence filled the room. After a few seconds, roars of protest exploded around. What? That's ridiculous. This is insane. Yeah. There are people who took the exam before. The Tokubetsu Jonin grinned menacingly. Too bad for you. This time I'm the proctor and I make the rules. You have 1 minute to decide. After that, all remaining in the room will be treated as agreed to the conditions and decided to take the question. Hey, that guy is good. Guy noted when Genin in the room started freaking out and running from the room. Not everyone can be as good at mind games as him. Yeah. Isabu agreed. Even the whole interrogation division of Kurika during Yuga's time couldn't compare to that guy alone. Really, you guys should have seen Naruto's face when we first faced him. Kurama snickered. There's nothing that can be more hilarious than that. I say, hey, finally. After a long time waiting, only 20 teams remained in the room, including the Konoha 12, Haku's team, Gar's team, Kabuto's team, the team of the redhead from Kasugaga, and of course, the not-so-secret Enimo. Ritanaro or Okimaru's team. Abeki took a glance across the room again and asked, I ask again, are the 60 of you that's left absolutely sure that you want to take the final question? Na finally lost his patience. Look, old man, do you really have to repeat that question for about, let's see, 30 times? Your mind game trick is brilliant, I admit. But if you just repeat what you are doing again and again and again, it will just be more annoying than scary, you know. Ebiki twitched. You know what, brat? I'm starting to hate you very much by now. Ah. Don't be like that. Naruto drawled. Everyone loves me, you know. Sasake gagged. Hinata and Haku giggled. Every other acquaintance of Naruto snorted. Right on. Cue. Anko smashed through the windows. You know what, Abeki? That orange gaki got a point. You are surely losing your touch. You're early again, Anko. Abeki glared at his fellow Tokubetsu Jonin. The first task hasn't even finished yet. Yeah, but looking at what happens right now, it is clear that the great Abiki Morino has lost to some snot-nosed BRZ. Seriously, 20 teams. Enko grinned cheekily, and some examiners in the corner sniggered. Abiki's glare became even harder. Do you want your salary to be cut next month? Enko. Yeah. The female Tokubetsu Jonin waved her hand dismissively. Anyway, you guys all passed the first test of the exam, but this is just the beginning. Now, follow me to the stage of the second test. Abeki let out a deep sigh when collecting the test papers of the contestants. This year's Chunin exam surely had some interesting faces. When he arrived at the blonde brat's desk, he shook his head with a slight smile. Naruto Uzuaki, the gentry of Kanahagaka. He might be annoying, but Abeki could see the great potential hidden inside him. No wonder the Hokage favored him so much. His eyes narrowed when he lifted the boy's paper up. He didn't notice it before, but right below the box for the 9th question now lay a small picture of a mole hidden under a helmet. The mind of Abeki didn't need more than 1 minute to figure out the connection. He will need to speak to the Hokage about this. Oh no, I'm not going to set foot into this place another time. Naha. No way. Never. Narat blinked as Sakura started freaking out when they arrived at the Forest of Death. What's wrong, Sakura? This Sakura pointed at the dark forest with a shaken finger. This is what's wrong. Everything horrible in Kanahagakar is collected in this forest. If you go inside, there is a chance you will not come back out to say hello. Sasake raised an eyebrow. Are you sure you're not exaggerating, Sakura? Of course I am. Sakura exploded. I've been stuck in this place for a whole month. I'd been ambushed days and nights by giant spiders, poisonous snakes, and even tigers with foot-long fangs, and the human-eating plants with nasty, slimy tentacles. Ooh. And not to mention the giant blood-sucking leeches. Think about eating soup made of those for a month. And ow. Sakura's rant stopped abruptly as Anko's knuckle landed on her head. Stop that, Cherry. You're scaring everyone shitless. The girl blinked and looked around. Everyone's faces were rather green. Hey. Oops. She scratched her head sheepishly. However, what she said was not completely wrong. Enko's signature sadistic smile turned back on again. Welcome to the stage of the second test, Training Ground 44, aka the Forest of Death. Staying true to its name, there might be deaths involved in this part of the exam. So before we start, you will sign these agreement forms. She pulled out a stack of paper from under her coat. If you don't, your death in the test will be all my responsibility. Tehi. Everyone gulped. Hey. Is it possible to quit now? Kabuto raised his hand. Anko just grinned. Nope. You're not allowed to quit until after the second test is done. Suck it up. When Sasaki exchanged the 3 registration forms for Team 7 scroll, Naruto nudged Sakura. Tentacles. Not that kind of tentacles, you pervert. Hugh fist to the head. So basically, what we have to do is to steal an Earth scroll from another team and take it to the tower in the center of the forest within 5 days, right? Na asked when they finally got into the forest. Sasaki nodded. Right, and that means we will need to fight other teams in order to get the scroll. There might be a chance that the scroll our enemy holds will not be the scroll we need. So this is also a way to minimize the number of contestants for the next part of the exam, I suppose. So it means the more opponents we take out, the more advantage we will have in the next test. Na grinned mischievously. Well, then I have a plan. Shadow clone jutsu with a loud pop. 100 Na clones appeared. Na pulled out a scroll from his pocket and unsealed it to reveal 25 more scrolls. He distributed them to the clones, which formed groups of 4, and with a nod the groups split up to 25 different directions. What are you doing, Na? Sakura asked incredulously. Na answered with a foxy grin. The whole forest, of course. Sakura blinked. So those scrolls are pranking tools. Answered Naruto happily. Sakura face pumped. But how? Asked Sasaki. I thought shadow clones are fragile and cannot withstand even one hit. What are you going to do with them? Well, let's just say I have found a way for them to stay alive even after taking a nice chunk of hits, said Na. Oh. Flashback arc. Damn it. Na slumped on the ground, pouting. Try hard as he might, he still couldn't throw the recent without depending on the beast's chakra. It would just fade away harmlessly after leaving his hand for half a second. Well, the reason is obvious. Your chakra, while having quite a reserve, is just not dense enough for the shuriken to keep its shape after leaving your hand. Isabu, who had observed him practicing the jutsu for a while, said. Na blinked. Dense. What do you mean? Isabu chuckled. I will explain. First, create a shadow clone with your chakra, Na. Na stared at the turtle man incredulously, but complied. A puff of smoke, and a clone appeared next to him. Good. Now, here's some of my chakra. Make a clone with it. Immediately, Naruto felt the powerful chakra of the beast flowed through his chakra network. Another puff, and another clone appeared. Good. Then, Isabu walked up and punched both the clones in the face. The clone made of Naruto's chakra simply dispersed in a puff of smoke. The clone made of Isabu's chakra, however, fell over with a thud, but didn't disappear. He jumped back on his feet, pointed at the turtle's face, and yelled, "Hey, what the heck does that supposed to mean?" See that? Naruto explained, ignoring the clone. It's the same jutsu, but by using chakra in different qualities, it creates different result. The chakra I gave you is less than what you used to create your clone, but it is much, much denser than yours. Basically, if you rate your chakra in a ranking system, the quantity of chakra you have might be higher than a rank, but when it comes to quality, it is just D rank at the highest. So, my chakra's quality sucks, huh? Na muttered disappointedly. Isabu smiled and slapped his shoulder. Hey, don't be like that. You can actually train to improve the quality of your chakra. You know, it's a rather basic training for John and level and over shinobi. Why do you think that even the most basic jutsu in their hands becomes more powerful than yours? Really? Naruto's head perked up. Can you teach me that? Isabu shrugged. Of course, but since it is a training of your body, you cannot use clones for it. So, it will take a while before your chakra can have a noticeable improvement. First, you have to do this. End flashback. Oh, ooh, Sash snorted. Oh, please. All people participating in this exam are elite genin from all the villages in the elemental countries. Do you really think that they will fall for those tricks? Na grinned. Well, Ozaku Abui carefully looked around, then gave a signal for his team to advance. The team from Kurija apparently included 2 members of the new generation of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. The white-haired one didn't have a sword, but the one with glasses was holding something suspiciously similar to the legendary sword Haramakare, also known as the twin sword. Sure, their mission was to kill the Uchiha boy, but that sword was no doubt an incredible present for Orochimaru-sama, and he might even get the scroll his team needed. 2 birds with 1 stone. Besides, Those Kiri newbies looked weak. How bad could it be? Twang! A rope wrapped around his leg and sent him soaring into the air. Ambush Haramic release. Hammer form. A giant hammer made of chakra slammed into Zaku's two teammates' faces, blasting them into a tree nearby and effectively sending them into blissful unconsciousness. At the same time, Zaku's face connected with the ground after falling from the height of more than 20 feet. Well, he's not dead, but let's say the result was not very pretty. Ah. Did I overdo it? Nah. Don't worry, Chojiro-kun. They're trying to attack us first. Anyway, hey, this guy has an earth scroll. Sweet. Now we can go to the tower. Oh. Yes. Yes. I am right on cue. Explosions and screams echoed through the air. Sakura shook her head. You really scare me sometimes. Nah. Nah grinned. Hey. It's not my fault to be absolutely awesome. Nah to the left. Gust incoming. Nah immediately went through hand seals in reflex. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The overcharged with tailed beast chakra wind jutsu overpowered the incoming jutsu completely and blasted the ambusher off together with about 20 trees. What are you doing? Sasaki raised an eyebrow. I felt someone trying to attack us. Naruto shrugged. Natural sensor. Thanks to the Kayabi, you know. Ha. Sasaki blinked. Pretty neat trick then. But at least you could leave them to see which scroll they have first. Being careful is important, too, you know. Na shrugged again. A huge snake descended down Team 7's head. Its mouth gaped wide, aiming to swallow the whole team in one gulp. Sweet lunch. A ball made of exploding tags was thrown into the snake's mouth. And 1 second later, it rained snake meat. Sakura jumped down to the remain of the snake and pulled out a kunai. Much to Sasaki and Naruto's horror, she cut it into pieces and started making a bonfire to grill them. Want some? She offered, giving Na and Sasaki a piece each. Na winced while staring at the meat stick. Hey, are you sure it is edible? Sakura snorted. A snake's venom is contained somewhere near its eyes. Destroy the head and the body becomes very delicious food. Come on, try it. Sasaki, Na. Sasaki stared at the meat wearily, then shrugged and took a bite. Ha, you're right. It tastes like chicken. He blinked. How do you know so much about this, Sakura? Na asked while chewing on his food. Sakura just smiled. I practically lived in this forest for a month. What do you expect? At least this is much better than centipede stew, you know. The two boys winced. True. Orochimaru was scowling. He had spent half a year planning for this. Had everything gone according to plan, he would have taken the face of a Kasagakaka genin, enter the Chunin exam, mark Sashake, before leaving quietly, then start a war during the final test, kill his stupid old sensei, and destroy the leaf. Too bad for him. Only the first part of the plan actually worked properly. Everything started to go wrong when he entered the forest of death. First, the traps. Orochimaru still shuddered whenever he thought about them. Kunai everywhere with explosive tags and poison on top. And somehow, Orochimaru, an S-rank shinobi, didn't manage to detect any of those traps. Seriously, did Surby-sensei snap and decide to the whole forest with lethal weapons that exploded? Then when he finally got close to Sasuke-Khan's team, that blonde teammate of him blasted him into the sky with an absurdly powerful wind jutsu. Sure, it wasn't enough to actually kill him, but it still freaking hurt. And now his other teammate decided to turn one of his summons into lunch. Seriously, he just wanted a good body for himself. Was that a bit too much to ask? Maybe it would be better for him to face them himself. Killing intent filled the air. Sakura and Sasaki gasped for air and collapsed to the ground. Naruto, in contrast, just stared at Orochimaru while scratching his ears. You're not scared. Nah. Your killing intent sucks. The Kayabi is much scarier than you. Naruto answered nonchalantly. Orochimaru chuckled. Kyuku, very interesting, Naruto-kun. I'll just kill you first. Then he drew Kusanagi and with a quick movement stabbed Naruto in the stomach. The three genin exploded violently. Oh yeah, the real Naruto popped out from the ground nearby, pumping his fist to the sky. A direct hit. Thank you, Itachi. Did you just blow that man up? Sakura escaped from a branch nearby. Naruto shook his head. Nah, he is Orochimaru of the Sunning. He's not down yet. The real Orochimaru emerged from the ground nearby. So you know who I am. He chuckled menacingly. But no matter because I'm here for Sasake, over there. Kyuku. Na made a face. So Orochimaru of the Sannin is a gay pedophile who lusts after 12-year-old boys. That's just gross. I'm not a gay pedophile. Orochimaru protested. I just want his body. That is even more disgusting. Sakura gagged. Orochimaru twitched. Okay, that's it. I will just mark Sasake, and get out of here. He made a hand seal and his neck lengthened. Oh no, you don't. Sasake snapped. His rage and fear of being molested by a pedophile somehow overwhelmed his fear of death. There's no way I'm letting such a disgusting person as you go anywhere near my body. Genjutsu sharing. Immediately, Orochimaru's body stiffened, and he felt like there was a bunch of stakes driven through his body. Damn it. This genjutsu again. Being paralyzed by the genjutsu, he had no way to dodge when the lightning-imbued sword of Sasake cut cleanly through his body, splitting it apart at his waist. Snakes immediately came out of the two halves, connecting them together again. Okay, he muttered. That kind of hurt. Since when has Genin become so competent? Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Orochimaru quickly made a mud wall to block the sea of fire from turning him into barbecue. Now the personal jutsu of Mauchi. What the hell? Chidori sharp spear. A spear of lightning pierced through the wall and impaled him with extreme prejudice. Okay. Another body crawled out of his mouth. This is getting silly. Then Orochimaru heard loud screeching behind him. He turned back and saw a shuriken made of chakra flying towards him. He hastily slammed his hands to the ground, summoning the triple ration to block the recent right before the jutsu collided with the gate. A deafening bang shook the ground. A sphere of chakra exploded from the collision and covered the three gates in tiny blades of wind. At the same time, a hand grabbed Sasek's neck and pulled him away. Let's run. When the tornado died down, a terrifying scene of devastation was unveiled. The three Rashomon gates were all destroyed horribly. The first one, which took the full blow of the jutsu, was utterly obliterated. The second one was blasted completely off its hinges, and the third one had one of its doors in pieces. Oh. And Orochimaru was buried head first on the ground to the waist. When Orochimaru finally managed to pull himself out of his burial hole, the clearing was void of people. Damn. Like adding salt to the wound, right at that time, a whole battalion of Ambu flickered into the clearing. Orochimaru, by the order of the Hokage, you are under arrest. Orochimaru decided to abandon the plan and run the hell away. Sure, Anbu are basically cannon fods, but a whole battalion of them is not something to underestimate. There are still many other chances for him to get his hand on the Uchiha boy anyway. Goddamn, what the hell is that jutsu you used against Orochimaru na? Where did you learn it? Sasake asked when Team 7 was jumping from branch to branch towards the tower in the center of the forest. Actually, it is a jutsu I created myself when trying to improve another one of my jutsu. It is a wind element jutsu called wind style. Recent Naruto smiled. But it is one of the most costly jutsu I've ever seen or heard in my life. I have to use one shadow clone to create it, and using it thrice exhausted me completely. And I need to add the Kyuubi's chakra into it if I want to throw it, otherwise it will destroy my arm. He deliberately left out the part that he could use it as much as he could with the help of the beasts inside him. Sasake winced. A jutsu that exhausts Naruto of all people is definitely not something he can learn. And the destroy my arm part. Maybe he will just stick to the Chidori for the sake of his health. Damn it, he pouted. Why is it that only you can learn overpowered destructive jutsu? Having a tailed beast sealed inside you is just not fair. Actually, it's more like 9-tailed beasts sealed inside him. Shukaku inside Naruto commented smartly. Of course, Sasake couldn't hear it. Yeah, but you have the sharing. You stopped Orochimaru of all people on his way with a glare. How is that considered fair? That immediately shuts Sasake up. I really hate you when you make sense, nah. Speaking about which, Sakura suddenly said, you seem to be much smarter and wiser these days. Nah, what happened to you? Nah chuckled. Well, let's just say when you befriend a 1,000-year-old being inside your stomach, there is much more you get from her rather than just some chakra. Sure. Just blame everything on poor old Kurama, Kurama muttered. Sakura drawled sarcastically. Yeah, Sure, the crazy Kayabi who tried to flatten Konoha 12 years ago taught you how to be smart and wise. Right, hey, don't be so mean. Naruto defended. She's just acts crazy because she was hypnotized by the bastard who attacked the village. When she's not being controlled, she's pretty harmless. Harmless. Ooh. I'll show you harmless. Kurama growled and the other beast snickered. Wait, Sash suddenly cut in. You said she. The Kayabi is female. Yep. Na nodded. Okay. It's final. Sasake muttered, palming his forehead. This world really is going crazy. Hey boss. A Na clone landed in front of them. He handed out an earth scroll. We found this on a bunch of fods from Rain, tried to ambush us, and got a bunch of tranquilizers to the face. Awesome. Na gave his clone a thumb up. Now we can be the first ones arriving in the tower. Actually, Haku-chan's team got there first. Got their scroll on the team from Odo, I think. Man, that guy really knows how to fly. Ha, Na blinked. Oh well, at least we're one of the teams that finish early. Alright, dispel. After the clone disappeared in a puff of smoke, Naruto turned back to his teammates and grinned. Let's go guys to the tower. So guys, what do you think about this Naruto story? Tell me your opinion in the comments. And if you want more Naruto what if stories, make sure to subscribe to Universe of Naruto. Thanks for watching.